Perhaps we need some outside universal threat to make us recognize this common bound. I occasionally think how quickly our differences worldwide would vanish if we were facing an alien threat from outside this world.
Good evening and welcome to Spaced Out Radio tonight. My name is Dave Scott. We are so glad to have you with us on this wonderful day. Geraldine Orozco is going to be here for another great show. And Dirty Filth is here with a great cartoon. And we'll get into more about Dirty in just a little bit. But the best part about tonight, we have each and every one of you here, including Race Fan in the gold medal position, Laura Lobbs with a silver, Tim Mothman in his goatee with a bronze medal tonight. And hi, Kitty Caddywhack, Frankie B, Robert Lamoth, good to see you. Ethanol, Eternity Eternal, and Bar Madison, thank you for coming on in. Acreon has returned. Acreon will be signing autographs after the show. Line up to the left of the studio, if you don't mind, to the left of the studio. Lee the Bee, Joanne, Paul Demon, how you doing? Good to have you all here. Let's move on and say hello to Paramarv. Mr. Cowley, nice to see you as we are continuing on with our roll call. Mel WD-40 is here lubing us up for tonight's show because you always want to go into a show nice and smooth. And yeah, that's what he does. He lubes us up. Scrolling on down, hi, Sierra. Stephanie Kenny Blankenship, nice to see you. Millennium, my man, thank you for going the distance with us tonight, my friend. Continuing on, remember, people, no politics in the chat room, please. No politics in the chat room. Don't care what happened tonight. This is about having fun and just taking your mind away. Number 27 in your program, starting at right wing from Stockholm, Sweden, Lars Jansson. Operation Shutdown. Moody Mongol is here. Moody Mongol will be signing autographs after the show as well. Line up to the right of the studio, if you don't mind, to the right of the studio. Tim Mothman and his goatee, two separate entities. Nice to see you. Hi, Sandra. Hi, Sandra. Hi, Sandra. Jay Truth Seeker, how you doing? Operation Shutdown, good to see you. So we continue on with our roll call here tonight. Road Flare, how are you? Al Garay over on Twitch did 700 pounds on the leg press machine 133 times. His legs are jacked for tonight. Matthew Goodka, how are you? Adam B, thank you for kicking off this super chat tonight. It's a wonderful way to support what we do on this show on a nightly basis. So thank you very much, Adam. Greatly appreciate the love. Scrolling on down, Marty Burback, how you doing? Magnus, good to see you. I'm Hardcore. No, you can't sign autographs tonight, my friend. You're not on the list. Not on the list tonight. You did that the other night. You can't do it 2 nights in a row. You can't sneak a Sharpie in, my friend. Fapster, how you doing? Super crazy. Lulu Bell, nice to see you both. Hi there, Cat's Tongue. And who's next on our list? What in Tarnation is here? Good to see you. Thank you for coming on in. Let's scroll on down a tad bit here. The Eric Andreas Unexplained, how are you? East of the Rockies. I love that. I miss that about art. Getty DeLong, welcome to SOR Chat. Thank you for joining us. Don't forget to hit subscribe. Joanne, thank you for that awesome super chat. Really appreciate your love, Joanne. Thank you very much. All right, where are we here? Damian Wyatt, thanks for coming on in. Man, What a good night. What a good night. I lost to my son in hockey. He wanted to fight. I actually stood down tonight. I didn't want to get beat up tonight. Yeah. Then we went and practiced shooting on his net. It was fun. Fun night. Let's get the radio side going. Hello and welcome to the radio and podcast side of Spaced Out Radio tonight. My name is Dave Scott. It is great to have you here as Geraldine Orozco is here to talk about all the weird, strange things and alien healings tonight. Can the aliens heal us? Well, we're in roll call right now on our YouTube side as we say hello to Jessica S. Good to see you, Jess. Trace, how are you? Welcome back. And don't forget, you can shop at our Spaced Out Radio store. We do not have ugly swag, people. No ugly swag, because it is way too nice. You could actually wear our stuff and be proud of it. You really can. And of course, the Super Chat is open. It's a wonderful way to support what we do on this show on a nightly basis. So thank you very much. Corey, how are you? Excuse me. Forgot to clear my nostrils. There we go. Little Vicks inhaler always helps. Throw those horns up. Let's rock, everybody. Mountains of central British Columbia to you listening around the world. This, my friends, is Spaced Out Radio. I am your host, Dave Scott, sitting in the captain's chair of SOR headquarters. We welcome you to tonight's show on our terrestrial affiliates around North America, digitally on every major podcast network. Our website is spacedoutradio.com. We have a plethora of features for you. Rock out the Bumble Wire. Check out our site as well. You can follow us on X at Spaced Out Radio, Instagram, Spaced Out Radio Show, and on Patreon in the Space Travelers Club. Tonight's show is brought to you by Chive Charity. Help make the world 10% happier by visiting Chive Charities today. You can find them on our website. We got a great show for you tonight. As Geraldine Orozco, her shoe collection and her beautiful hair will be here talking all things spiritual and aliens. Then in hour number 3, Swamp Dweller will kick things off with another spooky story. Follow that up by the Crypted Report. Robin Haynes will be here momentarily. I got to start off with this news, though, because today in the SOR family land, we actually had our hearts broken today. I got a horrible, horrible message from Dirty Filth, our cartoonist, where if you watch our YouTube side, I know the podcast audience and the radio audience, you only hear us in audio. But one of the special things about this show has always been when Dirty Filth comes in and draws a cartoon during our show. And over the years that he has been doing that, his beautiful cat, who he calls Blob, used to come in and be a part of this show. Blob became literally our mascot. We even got swag with Blob in it in our Spaced Out Radio store on our website. Unfortunately, after a nice cuddle last night, after 17 years, Blob was called to kitty heaven sometime this morning. And we are absolutely heartbroken and devastated for Dirty Filth and Mrs. Filth, because even though we never met Blob, Blob was a part of the Spaced Out Radio family. Now, I know a lot of people may say it's just a cat. It's, it happens, and she had a good life after 17 years, but Blob was one of us. And on our YouTube side, we always try and do things to make it a little bit more special during this show than what everybody else actually sees or hears. And one of those great things that we do is Dirty Filth coming in with a cartoon. And Blob just appeared one day. Blob would sit on Dirty Filth's lap, and we'd do a big poster on wording on our screen that says Blob alert, so the audience would know that Blob was there. And sometimes Blob, being Dirty Phil's most critical critic, would actually jump up on his drawing table and critique the art and sometimes help paint what Dirty Filth was drawing that night. And so, Dirty, from all of us at Spaced Out Radio, we love you. We love Mrs. Filth and we love Blob, and we are going to absolutely miss her. And, we're going to send you all sorts of love and healing because Blob was a big part of our family. And that's what we love, and that's what we're going to remember. And so thank you for allowing us, Dirty Filth, to be a part of Blob's life as well on this show, especially on our social media side with YouTube, Twitch, and X, where we broadcast video live. Now, let's get to the show because I want to bring in our guest. Geraldine Orozco has been doing this show, hard to believe, I believe for 8 years now. She comes in every month for the Spiritual You. She is just one of the most amazing people you could ever meet in this field. Geraldine is a multifaceted practitioner specializing in various holistic healing and personal development modalities. She serves as an energetic psychotherapist, clinical hypnotherapist, Qigong Instructor, medical Pranic Healer, and an intuitive life force cultivation master. Throughout her career, Geraldine has established herself as an international speaker and educator, focusing on meditation techniques, pranic healing, the multidimensional body, and epigenetics. She has also been featured in various media appearances discussing topics related to DNA, human origins, and human evolution. But the best part about Geraldine is she comes here each and every month to be a part of us. Geraldine Orozco, it is so great to have you on Spaced Out Radio. How are you, my friend?
I'm wonderful. It's so wonderful to be here. And Dirty, my deepest condolences. I know losing a cat can be so painful. Yeah, so much love to you. But Dave, thank you so much for having me. It's an honor to be here, as always.
Can you believe we've been doing this 8 years?
I know. It's just unbelievable. Time flies, and it doesn't feel like 8 years. It really doesn't.
I have a major, serious question for you, though, because in 8 years, my hair has turned white, my beard has turned white. I look more like Santa Claus, and you haven't changed a bit. You still look identical to the person that I first met 8 years ago.
I'm not so sure about that, but thank you. I appreciate that. Thank you. But you look great, Dave. I mean, you look amazing.
I get to see you in 1 month.
Oh, yeah, that's great.
I'm very excited.
I'll
I'm
see you
very
soon.
excited to come down to San Francisco for UFO Con. And you live in San Francisco, and you and I are going to meet up. We're going to hopefully go for some dinner, maybe have some good times and a good laugh over a glass of wine, and that's just the way us adults do this adulting thing. Yeah.
Wonderful. I look forward to it.
For our audience members who may be first time tuning in, wondering who this lovely Geraldine Orozco voice is, tell us a little bit about yourself. You had your first experiences in 2013. You came out publicly about this in 2017, which is where I met you shortly after you went public with your field. When you went public about your experiences and about what you needed to do, what went into your mind when you made that decision to give up the corporate world and concentrate on yourself, your spirit, mind, body, soul, and the souls of people around you?
For me, after 2013, when I had the experience, I was still having such a difficult time, even talking about my experiences. And my partner at the time wanted me to have nothing to do with the topic. He did not want me to talk about it, research it. Once in a while we would go to an event. But I was living very much a double life. And in 2017, what happened is that after my hypnotherapy, and I began to download the information that allowed me to understand the importance of contact and of experiences and the multidimensional nature of our human experience, then I understood that my experience was no coincidence. It was part of my life purpose. And it was literally then the day after the hypnotherapy that I was going for a walk, and I have this thing with hawks. Hawk is one of my spirit animal, and the hawk came to me, and in that moment, I knew that my life would change from that moment forward. And I literally, I sold my business. I ended all of my projects that day. I ended with my partner because it was no longer in alignment with the future. And I told the universe that I'm going to be of service. I just dedicate myself to be of service. I said, use me to be of service in however way is best. And I'm open. I'm not afraid of anything. So that's how kind of my life transformed, and I dedicated myself to doing this work, without even thinking about how I was going to make money or pay my bills. Like that was not even a question. It was just a complete surrender. And from there, the guidance of the information allowed me to understand what was number one priority: the research, the understanding, the support to other people that are having these experiences. And in order to provide support and answers, because I was meeting a lot of hybrid parents at that point, and everyone had the same questions I did in the beginning. So that's basically how it began.
When you look back after 8 years of being public now, do you ever have any regrets, concerns of what you would have done differently? Because there are other people out there, Geraldine, who may be in the position you were 8 years ago, debating whether or not to come out publicly about their experiences and have that life altering definition of what is truly going on and how their life has been impacted. Maybe it's aliens, maybe it's ghosts, maybe it's something spiritual and divine that they have had an experience with, like a near death experience, as an example. What would be your advice to those people?
Well, I have to tell you that when I was surrendered, I didn't know what was coming for me at that moment. I didn't know what I was getting myself into. I didn't understand the UFO community. I didn't understand the engagement with military that I was about to encounter at becoming public. So it's a very real thing that when you become public, you do become a person of interest. And I did experience tremendously traumatizing experiences at becoming public. So that's something that my spiritual foundation allowed me to be resilient to overcome, because anyone that enters into this field from a place of the unknown, and I was still unsure about, like, what was what, who was who, what, who was playing in which department. You're not sure who to trust and who to understand. So that was a tough learning curve. But when you understand that the real truth is your own connection to yourself, and that you can kind of direct your reality, and when you choose free will, these system, even the military, cannot touch you anymore once you understand how to use your energy in a proper way. That's when I became fearless, and I decided to focus on love and services to humanity. And my invitation to those of you is focus on finding your truth, and practice. Don't ever separate yourself from the spiritual aspect of it, because without that strong spiritual foundation of daily meditation, regulating my nervous system, training my intuition, I think that the outcome would have been even more difficult for me, because you need to learn to discern who you are interacting with, who you're engaging, collaborating with, connecting with, because it's not easy in the world. And in this field, it can sometimes be kind of disruptive in some ways. So you need to know who to align with, and it always has to be in alignment with the highest truth. So practice discernment, and remember that ET experiences are very much for your own personal evolution first, and that should be the priority. My intention was never to become famous or known or be rich, and that's not something that you're going to really find in this field. Even if you become known, you're not going to become wealthy. So it has to be a very deep intention to know truth and to pursue truth, and love in that pursuit. That's my invitation to those of you that are choosing to do that.
I love the fact that you are so positive about the process of people coming out, because it's not easy when you have to admit to family or admit to friends that you've had an experience that you can't explain. I mean, you have to go through all the silly questions. How drunk were you? Were you smoking anything? Were you dreaming, or were you watching a scary movie? Obviously you weren't feeling well because you ate something that upset your stomach. Maybe you have gas. Whatever it may be, you get the stupid questions that kind of come along with saying, I saw a UFO up close and personal, and it really affected me, or I saw something dark standing in my room last night and it scared me. And next thing I know, I'm looking at my clock, it's 11:45. Next thing I know, it's 4 in the morning. I mean, there's a lot of people who have those type of experiences, and they just don't know who to talk to, because number one, they don't want to believe it. Number two, they don't want to get laughed at. That's the one thing us humans don't like, is being laughed at, especially when we are trying to be serious about a topic that others may not understand. So, I can understand the difficulty people have regarding that. And I'm sure you've heard those same suggestions too.
Absolutely. My advice is to find a trusted support group with people that are uh, in the same neutral pursuit of truth. And I mentioned neutrality because neutrality is really important when you're first trying to understand your phenomena and what you're experiencing. Because if you connect with someone that's very biased about their belief systems, you will tend to go in the direction of those belief systems, and sometimes you will avoid major learning of your own experience that you might be missing, that you might not overlook. So I think it's really important that find a group, a support group. Of course, I have one at hybridmother.com that you can always follow. It's free, and you can join the group. And what I like to do in the groups is I like to go deep into the topics and kind of uncover layers of the topics so that we can deeply understand what is happening. And we look at many facets. We look at biology, we look at science, we look at chemistry, psychology, we look at the history of ufological experiences and phenomena. To deeper understand and observe these experiences, because not one person is going to know the whole truth. It's a process of continuous discovery because we are all learning. And also, our perceptions are changing because right now we're going through major disclosure, and we're going to go into even more disclosure coming into the future. But I want to mention that you are the disclosure. You, the experiencer that is at home, is the disclosure. You guys have the deepest understanding of the experiences. You guys have intimations about what's happening, and those intimations are extremely valuable. They're important for your personal evolution, for your spiritual evolution. So find a group in which you can find support first. Maybe before you go public, because it's always good to understand the depth. I learned a lot from support groups, hosting support groups and attending them. You begin to understand little parts of your own experience that you may have thought is insignificant, but actually they are very important markers to the phenomena, to these kinds of experience, to identifying what kind of experiences you're having. Maybe some of your experiences are more military. Maybe some of them are super high vibrational, interdimensional. So there's a lot of things that we learn. It's a very deep topic, and I would invite you to put your investigator hat on and take your experience as an investigation to learn more about it before making any defining conclusions.
Here's one thing I want to ask you about this topic, about coming out about your experiences publicly. I don't know how you feel about it, but I'm a little hesitant to tell people, you know what, go on Facebook. There are plenty of groups with people who are experiencers of the unknown, and maybe go there and get a feel for it. I don't like that. Probably because, not because of the people, but because many people will try and shift you towards their way of thinking rather than allowing you the time and the ability to nurture your own thoughts and process and acceptance of what's happened. Do you recommend people going on social media, joining Facebook groups let's say, to talk about these types of subjects, or would you prefer that they kind of take it slowly and come to a reasoning and understanding with it?
In this case, I would really advise people to do their own internal healing first. Take a look at internal traumas. Perhaps consider getting hypnotherapy to kind of access your own memories, your own experience, your own integration, so you can have a deep understanding from your perspective. Support groups is a great group environment in which you can share, because I think part of the phenomena is that people experiencers tend to feel very isolated, and it's really difficult to share. And usually it's the black sheep of the family, or you can't have normal conversations anymore, and that's alignment with ascension too, spiritual ascension. Your old relationships will start falling apart. This is part of our evolutionary process. So there are major life changes that come when you go into this topic, into the research of this topic. You're never going to be the same after your awareness that you're multidimensional, and it's necessary for all humans to train those parts of themselves. But I would suggest in that respect, that you take time to do your own internal research. But Dave, to be honest, as even if you read all the books and do all the research, everyone still has their own opinion. So this is why, I would suggest to do your own internal work first. And right now in the information age, there is so much information, so much opinions of people left and right. So I think the deep healing, you bring up a good topic. The deep internal healing is priority.
We have 3 minutes to go before we have to go to break at the bottom of the hour. Geraldine Orozco's The Spiritual You continues on Spaced Out Radio. And we're talking about people who may be wondering whether or not they should come out about their experiences, because the shyness, the fear that goes along with it, the idea that you might get, stigmatized as a weirdo or something along those lines, which, hey, I'm a weirdo. I'm proud of it. You should just do it. Right. But just the idea of everything, Geraldine, in regards to this, that release of not holding it in internally, it could be, do you think it could be healing and beneficial to you, the person, rather than, worrying about what everybody else thinks?
Yeah, it's as I mentioned, it's really important to have community. Um, but the thing about having someone to talk to, that is very cathartic and it's very healing. And it's also a profound confirmation that, you realize that you're not alone in your experience. There are actually thousands of people around the world that are having these kinds of experiences. And you also confirm certain aspects of the experience. So it can be anything from certain smells that you pick up to, things that you're seeing, dreams as children, the way that you're having these experiences as a child. A lot of people discover that they're actually lifelong experiencers. And that's usually in a group environment. But definitely it's important for you to understand that when you connect to your higher self, you have a source of information, and the infinite information is available for you there. So you can actually download the majority of your understanding by connecting to your higher self.
Where does one find that higher self?
How do we connect to that?
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's really, you need to meditate. You need to go internally into the self. You need to regulate the nervous system in order to access the higher faculties of your intuition. Activate your crown and your third eye and your crown to begin to access your ancestral memory, which is encoded in the bioelectricity conductivity of your body. So the more centripetal we become with our life force, which means that instead of externally looking, we internally look for the answers, the body begins to turn on into this incredible conduit that can connect to infinite information. That's how I discovered my information. I hadn't read any books on experiencers. I haven't read any of that history, but I downloaded it, and it was just incredible that later on, after doing the research, so many people were having the same understanding of these kind of experiences. So, I'm speaking from
Hold that thought right there. Geraldine Orozco and the Spiritual You continues on Spaced Out Radio. Going to get into alien healing. Is it possible? And maybe spirit animals as well. Let's try that out on Spaced Out Radio, second half hour, coming up right after this. All right, we are clear. Dirty Filth. Hi, Shaq Filet. Want to turn your mic on for a sec?
Hi, Dave.
See all the love you're getting, buddy?
Yeah, I appreciate it. It's a little overwhelming.
We love you, buddy.
So, yeah, it's tough, but what are you gonna do, right?
I know. We love you, though. And our audience loves
it.
you. And I know you're emotional right now, but I just want you to know that everyone here has yours and Mrs. Filth's back right now, and the rest of the family of cats too.
I appreciate it, and I'm overwhelmed with all the love that everyone sent to me. It's nice.
We love you, buddy. You're the best. And thank you.
Dave.
I think I speak for everybody here in the chat room, and that we were so blessed that you allowed us to be a part of Blob's life as well.
Yeah, she was the best supervisor I ever had.
Yeah.
I'm going to put that gremlin in her spot. That's putting an orange cat in an important position is going to be difficult, but you'll have to work on it.
Well, you know what? I the one thing that I have noticed recently, though, excuse me, is Gremlin's been coming around lately. Kind of like, well, Blob isn't here, and so we're gonna have to make sure that it's like Blob promoted Gremlin.
I'd say so. They hung out in the studio quite a bit.
Yeah. Do we have a picture of Blob? Yeah. We'll
Oh, Dave's got like 10,000 pictures of Blob.
let's see if I got one here. 1 second here. Let me just see here for a second.
Excuse me.
Let's go here.
Yeah, we got to watch your favorite movie last night, and I tucked her in all nice and everything, and gave her a kiss on the head, and said, "I love you, Blob, and be a good girl, go to sleep." And yeah, such is life, Dave.
There she is.
Oh, there's my Blob.
It's so beautiful.
Yeah.
That's the Blob spot.
Look at it.
Facing west, so she'd always get the sun on her. Yeah.
Oh, it's so beautiful.
Yeah. Jerry Carter, how you doing? Oob Joe's Maine, you've got love for Filthy tonight.
I got love for you too.
And let's see here. Christine Lynn, how are you?
I think I'm going to order myself a pizza, Dave. Apologize for cutting you off there.
I know. I'll take that off for you, buddy. Hold on. There you go. What kind of pizza, Filthy?
Oh, having pineapple just to make everybody upset about it.
I like pineapple.
That's the best one. Me too. I love pineapple.
I put jalapenos on it, but Mrs. Filth doesn't eat spicy stuff. Excuse me. But
Rex
I'm going to
Million,
get the other cat snacks.
All right. We'll talk to you in a little bit.
Have a good night, everyone. Thank you very much
Love
again.
you.
I appreciate it.
Much
All right,
love.
buddy. It's Dirty Filth, everybody. Send him some love tonight. He needs some love. We love you, buddy. All right. Area 53. How you doing, buddy? Good to see you. Yeah. It just kind of happened. It just kind of happened one day where all of a sudden Blob just showed up and started really critiquing Filthy's art. It was awesome. People loved it. You know, what are you eating? Is
Sorry.
that a quinoa-based spinach salad?
No, I made these amazing purple yams. I'm eating purple yams.
Oh, I had yams for dinner too.
Mmm.
They're so good.
Yeah.
All right, we got about 40 seconds. Zenzabil, how you doing? Thank you again, everybody, for sending love to Dirty Filth. Appreciate that. He needed it. He needed it. And thank you for sending the love to Blob as well. Thank you to Kira, Mel WD40, Joanne. Ooh, excuse me. Hiccup. Joanne and Adam for the super chats. Greatly appreciate the love. Here we go, everyone. Here we go in the second half hour of Spaced Out Radio tonight. My name is Dave Scott. Thank you very much for tuning us in. We appreciate you wearing tinfoil along with us. Reminded only that if you missed portions of this show or others, you can always check out our free archives on YouTube or any major podcast network. Our website, spacedoutradio.com, we have a plethora of features for you. Rock out to Bumblefoot, read the news wire, check out our swag as well. Follow us on X at Spaced Out Radio, Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show, and on Patreon in the Space Travelers Club. We continue on with the second half hour. Geraldine Orozco and the Spiritual You. Geraldine's website, geraldineorozco.com. Thank you, Geraldine, for being here with us tonight.
Thank you so much once again for having me.
Before we get into alien healing, you had mentioned something that I've never heard you mention before, ever.
Oh.
And that was the idea that about your spirit animal.
Oh, uh-huh.
When you talk about it. And you know, we all have a spirit animal. Some have multiple. I have 3 that I've been able to figure out. An owl, hence part of our logo. A bear, because I love black bears. And if I really need a good butt kicking, it would be a mountain lion.
A mountain lion. That's beautiful.
Yeah. So yours, refresh us what yours was again.
Well, I have a couple just like you, but a hawk is the first. An eagle, an owl, and what's the other one? Deer. Deer is the other one.
You get deer every day.
Wow. Yeah, that's beautiful.
What is the strength and the purpose of a spirit animal?
I think they're archetypal symbols, and when you look up the meaning of these symbols, for the American Indians and for most indigenous groups around the world, animals were beings just like us, going through evolutionary processes of spiritual evolution in the same way, and they experience things symbolically. Challenges, belief systems. So every single animal it represents something of your subconscious mind. It's a projection of subconscious mind. The every time I see this hawk, it always gives me important messages as to where I'm going in life, the direction in which I'm going, and why and how. So I have a very, very deep connection with them. I always know that I'm on track when they appear, and they fly over me. I mean, just unbelievable synchronicities that you wouldn't even believe. The moment when I was about to actually jump off the bridge, and excuse me for saying, after my partner passed away back in 2008, at 4 a.m. in the pitch dark, this hawk lands right next to me. spreads its wing, and you don't understand how big this bird is. It looks like it's huge. It spreads its wing, and it just terrified me, but I was so shocked. And right then it just downloaded this information to let me know that that was not the end. I had to go back into my car and leave, and from that moment on I changed my life again. So I have so many stories of that. But also, when I had my near-death experience with the scorpion in Mexico, that was also a spirit animal. And the scorpion medicine, when you engage with animals and you get stung, or if you interact with them and get hurt by them, there's always a lot of spiritual meaning behind that too. The scorpion was a lesson for me. And that's another lesson that I took on. So we just pay attention to your environment. When you are in the present moment, you pay attention. The nature is speaking to you important things that you need to know about your spiritual progression, where you're missing, where you might be missing an important key element in your healing, or holding yourself back. There's a lot of communication there.
Are they like spirit beings where they will give you lessons on what you should do, what you shouldn't do, the direction they want you to take, what's best for you, how to try and be a more spiritual being yourself? What's the message?
I think it's a fractal of your higher self embodied in the form of an animal, and it guides you. In my experience and the experience of most of my students, when they encounter certain animals and the archetype of that animal, it's always very much in communication and alignment with where they are at spiritually. Sometimes it'll signify the end of a relationship, or the beginning of a relationship, or a change of career. It's always very important to be very connected to your intuition so that you can communicate telepathically with these animals. These animals communicate with us and they download information. So, that kind of, this is something that all of our ancestors used to practice. Communicate with the animals and indicate. You don't kill them, you interact with them. Like if you have spiders in your home, you can ask them to leave. If you have ants in your home, you can ask them to leave. And they always carry a message. And we always have free will, but in my experiences, they're interacting to provide us with guidance. And if you're paying attention, you will catch the guidance. A lot of times people don't realize the presence of animals until later. And then when we review these memories, they understand the connection. It was right there all along. The messages were there for you. They just didn't look or be present enough to understand what's available. Cats, for example, that we're talking about, beautiful Blob, they're interdimensional and they have very profound messages. When I had a cat as well, and when she passed away, she was like a being. She was a whole being, and she had many aspects of herself that were other spirit guides that were not just her cat body. And they came into our life of our family to help us evolve and learn lessons. We had contractual agreements with our pets. So we need to understand what the agreement is. If we don't optimize our meditative state, sometimes we can fill our animals with our own suffering, and the animals absorb our illnesses, they absorb our suffering for us, and then they develop the illnesses and they pass away, like cancers, diseases, endocrine problems. The illnesses of your pets are kind of indicating where you also need to focus on your own health. There's a lot of interconnected contracts that are there with animals. So it just takes a certain level of deep awareness.
Is a spirit animal a defender? Is it about knowledge? Is it about trying to teach you something at that moment in time? Because when I've had interactions with mine, they always seem to come at low dark points, like they're messengers of something that they're not going to come out and tell you, and all of a sudden you're not going to see a cat all of a sudden speak to you like a cartoon, but it's the power of the image that you get from them, where they're looking at you sternly, or they're staring down at you from a tree, in my case an owl, or they're just there. It just seems very powerful and unique.
100%. I love that you mentioned that. I mean, it is very much guidance. They are helping us, especially our pets, animals that come into our life and live with us and cohabitate with us. Just like we have contractual agreements with our family members, these animals are operating at a higher octave than we are. The animal kingdom is operating at a higher octave because they're deeply connected with nature and natural order. So I think that animals serve as a guide to come back into natural order where we may have lowered our frequency. As you mentioned, they come in those low points. I've experienced that every single time. And it's to invite you to wake back up into a higher octave of your awareness. A lot of accidents are avoided by these messages. And if you understand how to listen to it, you can be guided in your life. It helps support you, protect you. It's a protection. A lot of animals are protection. Believe it or not, having that near-death experience from the scorpion was a powerful protection because it redirected my life and it helped me understand, parts of myself that I needed to integrate, like doubt or whatever that animal symbolizes. That's the healing that has to take place within you.
I like that feeling. I like that feeling. It's genuine. It is heartwarming. It's frustrating. It's seeking clarity to what we should already know deep in the back part of our brain that we need to unlock, but we don't know how to find the keys to get there. It's very much a riddle, isn't it?
100%. It's beautiful.
Why do you think the riddles sometimes are so hard to figure out?
Um, you know what? I'm not sure that it's a riddle. I mean, I think that it can be mysterious, but I think that the more we connect with nature, the answers are very clearly there for you. You can really understand. And the animals in that communication, if you train your intuition, your telepathic abilities, you can communicate with animals. They will tell you. You just have to be open to the message. Quiet the monkey mind, let that ego down so that you can interact with something outside of yourself in an open, not fearful way. We are the ones that get in our way to communicating with the realm. Everything is actually communicating with us all around us. The more you slow down your mind into observation, the more you catch that communication. Even stable objects, like objects around your home, they provide communication for you as well. Plants that are around you also are guides and supporting and working with us. So this is like something that in our culture is kind of foreign to us. We kind of laugh at it. We don't really understand it. We think of it as something silly, but this is something that all ancient cultures, they honored that. They honored that connection to nature. And it's the same with interdimensional contact. The more we come into a quiet space, we can get very clear understanding of why we are interacting with these things. So I think the mystery is first to understand why are we so disconnected to begin with, and to work on merging that reconnection so those answers can be more clear and easy to understand.
What is the connection between the spirit world and spirit animals, or spirit guides and spirit animals?
Well, I would say like all everything. I believe everything has consciousness, and everything is emerging from a field of consciousness through the morphogenetic field into a form. For us, form is a communication. It provides symbolic imagery and understanding, and it provides a vibrational frequency of understanding. So when we talk about the non-physical world, these realms of pure energy, it is just that. It is pure energy. So every spirit, every entity, every being that interacts around us, um, it exists based on resonance. So if your vibrational frequency is really low all the time, a lot of fear, a lot of anger, a lot of anxiety, a lot of hate, even for yourself and others, the kind of spirits and interdimensional beings you're going to be interacting with are going to be very similar and very attracted to that kind of frequency. So we are the ones that have to direct ourselves in what we're co-creating with all around us. When we raise our vibrational frequency, come into more harmony, connect more with nature, the language expands. What's happening is that right now, as humans, we have a visible range of frequency, right? The rainbow spectrum. But humans can see way more than that. If they cultivate their higher faculties, if they focus on developing our senses, our five senses, and then the thousands of other senses that we have in our body allow us to intercommunicate with these spirits. So the connection between animals, I mean, animals are a more deeper soul embodiment of a spirit essence that is a fractal of yourself. I tend to find that especially pets are fractals of the soul of the owner. And that's why there's such a deep communion in their life path and their purpose, collaborating with each other in the life journey. So I believe that they aid the soul in keeping the soul on track of the human throughout life experiences.
I looked this up because your spirit animal is a hawk.
Yeah.
The hawk is a powerful spirit animal that symbolizes vision, focus, intuition, and freedom. It can also represent a calling to look beyond what's obvious and pursue your goals. Vision, hawks have exceptional vision, which can symbolize seeing things clearly from a higher perspective. Focus, hawks are known for their precise focus when hunting, which can inspire people to stay focused on their goals. Intuition, hawks are closely associated with intuition and inner guidance. Freedom, the hawk can represent freedom and the ability to soar to new heights. In different cultures, like ancient Egyptian mythology, the hawk was a symbol of Horus, the god of sun, sky, and kinship. In Native American cultures, the red-tailed hawk is considered sacred and is often depicted in art and used in ceremonies. So it pretty much describes exactly who you are.
Oh, that's cool. That's cool. Yeah. I love that. It's so beautiful. Thank you for reading that. Yeah, that's
Okay,
amazing.
so
Let's look up yours.
because this one kind of intimidates me a little bit, a cougar or mountain lion.
Ooh, love that. Yeah.
The cougar spirit animal, it can symbolize power, strength, and moving through the world unseen. Power, the cougar is powerful but doesn't use it to command a pack or gain attention. Well, that's opposite of me. I'm teasing. Strength, the cougar is a sign of strength, wisdom, and intelligence. Moving through the world unseen, the cougar silently marks territory so conflicts aren't necessary. Native American beliefs or indigenous beliefs in the West Coast, seeing a cougar or hearing its screams is an evil omen. In some East Coast First Nations indigenous tribes, cougars are considered noble animals with powerful hunting skills. The cougar can also symbolize a tumultuous and long path wrought with suffering, heartache, disappointment, and doubt. Bingo! And the cougar can also symbolize walking the path of peace. There you go.
Beautiful. Look at that. That's incredible, Dave.
That one line right there absolutely symbolizes my entire adult life. The cougar can symbolize a tumultuous and long path wrought with suffering, heartache, disappointment, and doubt. I fight that every day. Fight that every day.
Amazing. As you can see, they really embody archetypes, the archetypes that are overlaying our psychology.
Here's the thing, though. When it comes to these types of symbolisms,
Mhm.
a lot of people will, from the outside looking in, will say, well, that literally names 35 or 40% of the entire population having those same issues. That's called life. It's not about spirituality. It's not about, a spirit animal guiding you down that path. But for me, that hits home. That really hits home. those certain lines. So do we take it individually, or, do we look at the skeptical side and say, well, that could be anybody?
Yeah, I mean, everything has to be looked at with balance, but I think the individual perspective is very important because, um, I mean, those symbols are going to mean a lot to you. I have a lot of students that have certain animals that travel ancestrally. So, amazing stories about how an animal goes down the lineage of the family. It's the spirit animal of the entire ancestral lineage. And it's the same for the American Indians. They used to talk about that. They have totems, the totems with the animal symbols of the person, all the archetypes that that specific human is exemplifying in their life. And I think what I would consider it more as an invitation for guidance on your path of ascension. Just like we tune into the Akashic records and we use those tools to enhance our life, animals are a fantastic tool and symbolism to look at where we need to focus, where our focus should be. So I think it's individual, and I think it helps our ascension. Yeah.
I can totally see that, because it is an individual message and how it resonates with you.
Yeah. Hmm.
It doesn't have to, if you look at it from a distance, it's going to look vague. But the minute you kind of put your own what you feel your self-worth is into the message, that's where you get the answers. Am I correct on that?
Yeah, and I mean, the other thing is you also have to look at your individual experience because how many people have a hawk that just comes next to you at like 4 in the morning in the random darkness? How many people see, the mountain lion that you connect with? Uh,
Hmm.
so in my opinion, what I have learned through with my human experience up until this age, there really isn't coincidences. We are literally co-creating in with nature, and it's communicating with us. And every person's experience is going to be unique and different. I can connect to a hawk. A person next to me doesn't even see the hawk because it's not in their frequencies. Same thing with, ET contact. So I think we need to pay attention to our experience. What does that mean for us?
Let's go to Joanne here. A little bit quick question on this. How do we know who our spirit animal is?
So I would pay attention to the animal that you have a most strongest affinity to, but also the one that seems to appear more to you in your life, that you catch and pay attention to repeatedly throughout your life. The animal that you most love and just really connect to. Take a look at research the animal, research its features, its understanding, and take a look at your life at the times that you've encountered this animal and begin to look at what's the parallel, what are some of the patterns that are happening in your life every time you come encounter with this animal. I guarantee a lot of people begin to uncover that there have been a lot of hidden messages in those encounters. So take a look at that.
I love that. We got about 90 seconds to go before we have to go to break at the top of the hour. Geraldine Orozco, the Spiritual You, is here. We're talking about spirit animals right now. Geraldine, when we look at it, you and I both had owl in common. So before we go to break, I want to read the owl. Okay.
Okay. Yes, absolutely.
Here's the owl. The owl's spirit animal symbolizes wisdom, intuition, and the ability to see beyond illusions. Owls are also associated with mystery, magic, and the supernatural. Wisdom, owls are known for their ability to see below the surface and to distinguish reality from fantasy. Intuition, owls are associated with the ability to see through deception to the truth of a situation. Mystery, owls are associated with the mysteries of life and the magic of exploring the unknown. Boy, that sounds like you and I. In Native American, First Nations, Indigenous cultures, owls mean they are associated with connecting with inner wisdom and intuition. In folklore, owls are associated with magic, darkness, and supernatural. In general, owls are associated with bad omens and considered harbingers of illness or death. However, in Japan, owls are considered lucky.
Yeah.
Now,
I,
if I combine the two, the owl and the cougar,
Uh-huh.
It totally describes me. And if I look at the owl and hawk with you, it totally defines who you are.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's amazing. I love that you read that. I was actually totally researching that these last couple of weeks because every single night last week, an owl came to my dream in different ways. I mean, I can't even begin to tell you, even to the point where there were owls waking me up at 3 a.m, howling outside of my
Oh, I
window.
love it.
Yeah, it was just unreal. So there was a lot of messages there.
Geraldine, I'm going to get you to hold on right there. We are going to go to break here at the top of the hour. Geraldine Orozco here with you. I'm having fun with this owl stuff. We're going to continue with that. This is Spaced Out Radio with host Dave Scott. All right, we are clear. I'm going to put you back in the green room, and I'll be right back, okay? All right, we'll be right back, everybody. Hi, JMJ12. All right. I am back. Vanessa, how are you? Good to see you. Frost Kitten. Yes, I am here. And we got about a minute to go. Thank you to our super chatters tonight. Shaq Valet, Kira, Mel WD40, Joanne and Adam, thank you for the love. Really appreciate it. And let's see here. Don't forget you can shop at our Spaced Out Radio store. We do not have ugly swag, people. No ugly swag. So make sure you check it on out. I changed signs here. This is crooked a little bit. That's just bugging me. Go right there. Is that more straight? Yeah, that's more straight. That was just bugging me. All right. Here we go with the second hour of Spaced Out Radio tonight. My name is Dave Scott. We got Geraldine Orozco and the Spiritual You continuing here on the big show. Very thankful each and every month. But first, we want to say hello to everyone listening in on our terrestrial affiliates around North America, digitally on every major podcast network. Our website, spacedoutradio.com, we have a plethora of features for you. Rock out to Bumblefoot, read the news wire, check out our swag as well. Follow us on X at Spaced Out Radio, Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show, and on Patreon in the Space Travelers Club. The Desert Clam has set the password for tonight in the SOR Space Travelers Club. Narcomancy. Narcomancy is your password. Use it wisely, Space Travelers, as the Clam sets the password each and every night right here on Spaced Out Radio. We got our good friend Geraldine Orozco here hanging out with us with the Spiritual You. Geraldine comes in each and every month to discuss all things healing, consciousness, ET contact, spirit animals, which we are doing right now, and I'm just enthralled. I love this subject, Geraldine. Geraldine's website is geraldineorozco.com. Now, I did something funny during the break. I wanted to see, because I also love black bears. I feel I have a connection to black bears.
Yeah.
And Geraldine, it is nothing like me. Nothing. So I got to read this to you because this is funny.
Yes.
The black bear is your spirit animal. You identify with the cycles of nature. You are a healing and grounding force for yourself and for others. You understand the importance of taking time to regenerate, heal, and rest. And you are very likely comfortable in your own company and in moments of solitude. Now, I'm all over the map, man, with my emotions, with my depression, my anxiety. I don't know how to heal myself. I try and control my breathing. My heart starts racing more. This is complete opposite of what
Is
I
it?
is a connection with a black bear.
But I mean, look at you, Dave. You're a pillar of knowledge. Look at this show, this platform you do every single night. Don't tell me that this show doesn't help you in some way.
It is healing. I
It
will say.
is. It totally is. How many people do that?
You know what? I'll open up here for a second. I've been having a very tough time at my daytime job recently. Very tough time. Like, my confidence over the last 4 weeks has been almost in the gutter. But the one thing that saves me from absolutely going insane is actually doing this show nightly, because if I'm depressed, if I'm anxious, if I'm not feeling up to sorts or not good enough, this is the one thing in my life that I have full control over. And so it doesn't matter how crappy of a day that I have had, or if I'm already expecting tomorrow to be a horrible day as well. The one thing I do know is for these 3 hours a night, I have complete bliss of doing something that is going to not only relax my mind, but my body and soul as well. And I suffer from high blood pressure because I feel like I have to be perfect all the time. And it is a horrible trait to have when you feel that you have to be perfect every second of every day.
Mm. Yeah.
So when I come on here, it gives me an opportunity to relax, to enjoy, to communicate with my brothers and sisters who love this type of programming, who love these topics, to just sit back and be one with ourselves. And I find that very, I guess, healing would be the way to put it.
Yeah, I totally see that. And I think that you provide healing for so many people. Look at the chat. The people that are so supported by you, you do that to them as well. So I definitely think that you have a lot of brown bear in you, or black bear, black bear.
Maybe. I'm
Yeah.
still not buying it because the the rest of the days are just absolutely haywire. They really are. They are absolutely haywire, but I am I am somebody who actually looks forward to doing this. And like it takes a lot of time away from
Yeah.
what I do in my personal life, but you know what? This is just something that is completely relaxing for me. And that's why we do little things. So, like if you're listening on the radio side and you want to come into our YouTube side one night to listen to this show, the one thing that I will say is there's certain things we don't do. We outside of UFOs, we don't talk politics. And like if I see the political chat start to pick up in the chat room, I shut it down. If people come in because you get every now and again you get trolls coming in, I shut it down because I just don't want that. I want to be able to relax. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I think we all need that opportunity to just cut the ties with society and do, what we can for us. And it's weird because one of the biggest compliments, and a lot of people would look at this as an insult, but one of the biggest compliments I get on this show is, Dave, you put me to sleep every night. Now, some people will look at that and say, well, that's an insult because,
No.
here you're trying to talk to people and educate people and tell them about all these weird, strange stories. But you know what? I've done my job.
Right. 100%.
I allowed their mind to relax enough to just go to sleep.
Yeah.
Now, that doesn't work for our people in the UK who are listening in, where it's like 6 in the morning right now, or it doesn't work, for our people in Australia where it's like 2, 3 p.m. Tomorrow in the afternoon. That doesn't work for them. But for us here in North America, I find it an extreme compliment.
Hmm.
And I'm sure you do too when you're able to have a client who will all of a sudden say, you know what, I haven't slept well in years. And thank you, Geraldine, for helping me to be able to relax where I actually got a good night's sleep.
Yes. And a lot of my students fall asleep to my videos too. So it is a compliment. It's going into the subconscious mind and supporting and helping in every way. So yeah, that's amazing, Dave. You help a lot of people.
Well, we all do. We all do. And that's why we're here. That's why we have fun doing what we do, you know,
Right.
even though I don't get black bears in my yard. Because, like, what's the closest you've ever been to a black bear?
Um, outside of my tent. Yeah,
Really?
when I went camping. Yeah.
I've never been that close.
Yeah. But I was, ever closed up and it just passed by and then we were okay. They were really cute.
I am just surprised that you've been camping.
Yes, when I was a child, I used to go camping a lot. But then, yeah, with one of my ex-partners, we used to go all the time up to like Tahoe, and yeah, it's beautiful. I love it. I love it, and I had everything for the camping. The kitchen stuff. I love bringing all that stuff and all the fun recipes you can do in camping. Yeah, it's really fun. It's a lot of work, but it's fun.
Would you believe that me being an outdoors guy, I hate camping?
Oh my gosh. It's not my first choice, but if it's like 70 degrees morning and night, I'm good. Why
Here's
do you hate camping?
I will tell you the one and only reason why I hate camping. Okay? And this has been a pet peeve of mine for about 25 years. Well, maybe 20 years. I hate air mattresses. I've never had an air mattress where I have woken up in the morning and my air mattress hasn't deflated or popped a hole in it.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Because of that, I absolutely hate camping because of the air mattress. And it doesn't matter whether I buy a $20 air mattress from Walmart or if I go to a sporting goods store and buy a $200 mattress that has its own stand so you're not on the ground and you've got this beautiful, queen size mattress inside your tent. You can't fit anything else besides that. I wake up and the damn thing is popped. So I've said to hell with camping. Okay, even though we camped last year at Flight 21 and I kept all the animals away with my snoring. We got that on camera, by the way.
That's fine.
But that's the reason. I love everything else about it. I love the fact that I could brush my teeth out of a cup to drink water so I could rinse my mouth. I love the fact of being around a campfire. I love the fact of being with friends out at camping. But it's that damn air mattress that gets me every time, and that's the reason why I hate camping.
Okay, I understand. But we can do without the air mattress. Can't you get like a little cot with like,
Oh,
your
I'm too
sleeping
cheap.
bag?
I am too cheap for that, but I may have to go that route. I honestly may have to go that route.
Yeah. Well, it's okay.
Or I just say to hell with it and go glamping, buy a little RV trailer, like a nice 24-footer, and that way I can glamp.
That's it. That's what I am committed to doing now.
See, I would totally do that. I would totally do that.
Yes, 100%.
Yes. Out of all the animals that you have dealt with in the spirit realm, what are some of the more powerful ones? And I'm thinking, like a wolf has to be a powerful one, or a coyote, or an eagle, or a moose, or something along those lines. Like every animal has to be some sort of power.
Oh, yes, yes. For me, it was the scorpion, a very small one. That thing kicked I literally died because I went into anaphylactic shock and I died. And the lesson of the scorpion, the medicine of the scorpion is so profound. It is literally looking at the most primal part of the human and testing that part of the human to see if you can alchemize it into pure love. And that's what the test of this scorpion was. It was a very painful, very terrifying experience, but it taught me to really honor my life and my experience in this life, and my self-worth in a very deep way. So it was amazing.
Well, let's read what a scorpion says.
Ooh, okay.
In essence, the scorpion, as Scorpio's spirit animal, beautifully symbolizes the resilience, intensity, and transformative nature. Scorpio individuals, much like the scorpion, teach us the value of embracing change, delving into the depths of our emotions, and harnessing our inner strength.
Wow.
Yes. So continue here for a second. It also can represent protection, self-preservation, and passion. Ooh. All right. Transformation, the scorpion's willingness to explore the depths of the human experience. Facing fears, the importance of facing our fears head on. Protection, the scorpion symbolizes protection and self-preservation. Passion, the scorpion inspires fiery passion. Control, the scorpion inspires calculation and control. Yeah. So let's see. What else does it say? In ancient Egyptian mythology, scorpions were linked to the goddess Isis, representing protection, healing, and fertility. In the New Testament, scorpions are used to symbolize evil. Psychologist Kevin Dutton saw the scorpion as a metaphor for psychopaths. Are you a psychopath?
I certainly hope not.
I hope not too. I've known you too long. Now I'm scared to go out for dinner with you in San Francisco.
Oh boy, that's funny.
Mm-hmm. So I don't know. It,
Yeah.
it's fun though to learn this.
Yes, and in the occult side of the scorpions really represent the occult. They represent the unknown. They represent the shadow aspect and all the hidden aspect of humanity. You know, everything from the deepest aspect of our sexuality to the hidden truths, to alchemy, to magic, to intuition, to divination. So there's a major element to the scorpion that is a very deep symbology in the occult. And I think that's what the message was at that moment. It was like the fear of the unknown in such a deep way, the fear of the parts that you just can never find the answer to. And I was at a point in my life where I was like, you know, what's the point? What's the point of living if you don't know the real answer to everything? But it taught me to live and exist in the 0 point of not knowing, but still learn to love unconditionally all things, including yourself deeply. So it was such a powerful lesson. Yeah.
Well, I'm going to do one more here because
Yeah.
I see this and I'm not connected to the wolf, but many people I know are. And this is a very powerful one.
Okay.
A wolf spirit animal can symbolize freedom, independence, and a connection to nature. It can also represent bravery, courage, and loyalty. The freedom is the wolf is a wild animal that is not easily tamed. A wolf spirit animal can encourage you to live more freely and spontaneously. So, not me. Connection to nature, wolves are often thought as a majestic animal howling at the moon in full connection with nature. Bravery and loyalty has wolves being associated with positive traits such as bravery, courage, and loyalty. Yeah. Wolf symbolism is also represented in indigenous art such as jewelry, carving, ceremonial masks, and bracelets. So, how cool is that?
Very cool. Amazing.
Love it. Love it. From spirit animals to aliens, because we're going to make a shift here. A lot of people claim that they have been healed by extraterrestrials. Take it up on craft. Maybe they have a bad ankle. Maybe they have a disease like cancer. Maybe their heart isn't feeling good. Maybe they have problems with their eyes and they come back down and all of a sudden there's no signs of any sort of bodily trauma that is hurting us on this earthly plane. Have you studied this and what's your thoughts on it?
100%. I mean, I've experienced healing myself. In fact, in when I was 22 years old, I had this experience where I had a dream of these strange dark beings all around me, injecting something into my body, and then I became very ill. Incredibly ill to the point where the doctor said you only have 3 months left to live. And they did all kinds of tests, and the only thing they could equate it to is an unknown amoeba in the body that they could not identify. So after doing all kinds of tests and experimenting with all kinds of antibiotics, which they were not responding to, and I was literally, I was so dehydrated. I had so many strange physical symptoms the doctor could not explain. And one night, finally, after 3 weeks of suffering, the intensity, it was already happening a couple of months. I had this dream where a white light came, and from the white light emerged this being that touched my forehead. And as they touched my forehead, I felt this heat completely cover my entire body, and I went to sleep. Then the next day I get up I had nothing. The doctor, I had a doctor's appointment the day after that, and they ran all kinds of tests. The doctor couldn't find a single thing. So that experience has happened many times in my life. And, my students have a lot of these experiences and stories. So I believe that we are deeply guided and protected by councils of beings that we are genetically connected to. We are hybridized by these groups of species that watch over us, in a sense, connect with us and guide us through our human experience. Anytime that the human begins to lower in their frequency, also we have implants in our body, etheric implants. And sometimes these etheric implants, when we lower our frequency, they can begin to really affect the physical body in negative ways. And some people come to me to remove implants etherically in hypnotherapy. And when we remove them, I'm getting images of the groups that are connected to those implants and how they were put into the body, why they were put into the body, and the contractual agreements between those implants and the body. So etheric implants are both energetic and they also use our DNA. So it's recorded in the system historically. I've also seen families of contactees that have had implants in the similar part of their body by the same group of beings every single generation. So I think that, and what I've learned from that is that the group is maintaining a certain vibrational frequency. Now, this can be limiting for the group in their ascension, and also it can keep them at a certain vibrational frequency from going any lower. But there are many, many accounts of simultaneous, spontaneous healings. Our friend Preston Dennett talks a lot about this. I know you've had him on here. I mean, his research on the topic is so beautiful. There have been many of my students that have experienced it in the support group as well. So it's very much a real thing that humans are experiencing, healing and ascension.
One of the biggest criticisms that people have regarding people who claim to have been healed by aliens is, you know what? They'll say, my child suffers from a disease, or my mother could sure use a healing right now as she's dying from cancer, or something along those lines. And yet that miracle never seems to happen for many people. And a lot of people would say that religiously as well, that it doesn't happen, as much as we want it to be. So how do the ETs choose, or have we noticed any patterns on how they choose people, on who they're going to help out and who they're not?
Yeah, that's a really good question, but I'm not so sure it's them choosing as much of as it's us choosing, because these are two-way directional communications. We have to agree to communicate with them as much as they agree to communicate with us, and our vibrational frequency is that contractual agreement. It is that agreement. So it really depends on our belief system. And that's the interesting thing about the holographic nature of this conscious experiment called life, that, when we observe it, it begins to change. So the human that is deeply disconnected from themselves and from nature, sometimes, they will not have these kinds of experiences. That doesn't develop. Usually people that have these experiences, I've seen patterns that they are highly intuitive, even since children. They're already very deeply connected to seeing, having imaginary friends, or connecting with beings in their dream state throughout their entire life. And they are open to that experience. But some people are completely not. And that's a lot of indoctrination. It's also the calcification of our pineal gland and the severing of our source cord in order to access our higher octaves. Because we actually, this is one of the most beautiful proofs that we are not alone ever, even if you are empty in the middle of a desert. We have to go. Yeah.
Welcome back. Geraldine Orozco, spiritual
You're listening to Spaced Out Radio.
with your host, Dave Scott. All right, we're clear. That was fast. This show is flying on by tonight.
Yeah.
I'm excited.
Excited for your trip coming here?
Yes.
It's good.
Can't wait. Can't wait. Can't wait to take a few days off the daytime job so I can learn how to breathe again.
Oh my goodness. Yeah. I'm so sorry. It's challenging.
Yeah. That'll be good.
Good.
Just be nice to it's weird because every time I've been to San Francisco, it's always been windy.
Oh yeah?
Yeah, every time. It's always been like real windy,
That is true. Yes. Yes.
so you know what? It's going to be nice to see some friends. It's going to be nice to just be able to just kick back and relax and, you know, and just listen to some of the people speak and, do what you got to do.
Yeah, that sounds fantastic. You're gonna have a blast.
I know.
Can't wait to hear about it. I didn't see who's speaking. I haven't seen at all yet.
Let me grab it here. Hold on.
Oh yeah.
Let's see. Your speakers this year will be Art Fraser, Brian Jackson, Craig Campobasso, Darcy Weir, Dr. Jerry Croth, Dr. John Blitch, look forward to meeting him, Dr. Raymond Keller, Dylan Freeman, Jason Sands, John Brandenburg, John Mylor, John Stewart, Leela Hutchinson, Martin Willis, Mary Electra, Melinda Leslie, Michael Walker, Michelle Miners, Misha Johnson, Bob McGuire, Robert Perala, Robert Potter, Ron Felber, Solaris Blue Raven.
Oh, very good. Very good.
Yeah. It's going to be exciting. Going to be exciting.
Prayers for Misha, by the way. Misha is in the hospital. So let's send her some healing prayers.
For sure.
Yeah.
Let's see what the schedule is here. All right. Meet the speakers. Mm-hmm. This is going to be good. Going to be real good. Let's see here. I went up in the mountains the other day.
Oh yeah?
I did.
How was it? What the scary mountains or which mountains?
I wanted to see how far I could get.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So
How was it?
it was good. The lower part was all melted. The upper part still had about a foot of snow.
Oh, that's interesting. That's kind of early this time, isn't it?
It is early for the melt this year.
Wow. Yeah.
It's 34 degrees Celsius or Fahrenheit right now. That's t-shirt weather.
That's warm. Warmer than it's been around this time. Wow, that's awesome.
I know. It's t-shirt weather.
It's not t-shirt weather, but maybe for you. Oh my god.
Oh yeah.
But it's warmer. Oh my god.
High psychic medium Rebecca K. Yeah, I'm thawing out. And yeah. And then I have my toy, I have a Jeep that I've lifted up.
Oh,
So
okay.
my son and I we went and got an ice cream cone at Dairy Queen.
Aw,
And we went in the forest and we just found the biggest puddles we could find and then just raced through them. He likes that. So
That's so fun. That's wonderful.
Mm-hmm. Yep. T-shirt weather.
When you come here, it's going to be summer for you then.
Yeah, but it's a different climate because you have a lot of the moisture and the humidity. Don't
I
have
see.
humidity up here, which is cool.
Really?
Hold on
Oh,
right there. Hi, Adam and Joanne and Mel and Kira and Shaq. Thank you for the super chats tonight. Greatly appreciate the love and support, everybody. It's a great way to support what we do on this show on a nightly basis. So thank you very, very much. And we're going to get going here in I would say about 9 seconds. 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. We burned on past the second half of Spaced Out Radio tonight. My name is Dave Scott. Thank you for tuning us in anywhere on this planet where you can pick us on up. We appreciate you finding us and enjoying the woo with us. Geraldine Orozco and the Spiritual You continues right after this. But first, we want to remind all of you that if you missed portions of this show or others, you can check out our free archives on YouTube or any major podcast network. Our website, spacedoutradio.com, we have a plethora of features for you. Rock out to Bumblefoot, read the news wire, check out our swag as well. Follow us on X at Spaced Out Radio, Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show, and on Patreon in the Space Travelers Club. GeraldineOrozco.com is her website as Geraldine comes in and joins us for the Spiritual You monthly. And we love having her here each and every month. It's so much fun. And Geraldine, we're having a blast tonight. We were talking about alien healings, and right before the break, I had to cut you off, but I want to continue the conversation regarding who the aliens choose to heal. Now, you believe it's people who put out the signal saying, hey, I need some help.
Yeah, well, in addition to being open to the possibility of having healing, it's the same thing with angels, by the way. And I do believe that what we think are angelic beings are actually these beings that are coming to interact with us. I think a lot of humans have filters also. We also don't want to discount that those filters can change the name or the identification of the kind of healing, who they're getting the healing from, because some people see visions of Jesus or their mother that comes, or a passed away relative that comes and heals them. And I believe that we use our filters to not really see clearly who we're interacting with. And they might be part of our soul group, our family, our galactic family that is here to support. So we have to be open, and we have to understand what kind of filters we have to see what could be going on, but that to say that we are highly supported. And I think that when we open our vision and we open up to that, to the understanding that we're not alone, that was where we left off in the last moment. We're actually surrounded by beings that are supporting us, that are connecting and constantly communicating with us through animals, through inanimate things around us. They are communicating to us, but we have to slow down enough to catch it and to listen. Unfortunately, for a lot of people, it's always illness that knocks them back into a state of stillness, to begin to remember and reconnect with themselves. And this is what Gurdjieff called the law of accident, that when you reach a very low point energetically in your life, or you have a low contractual agreement that will help you wake up consciousness again in your life. Now, maybe not just in your life, maybe you're a sick child that is healing generations of illness in your bloodline. Those are all contractual agreements that are invitations for the human soul to ascend from that lower state. And we have a lot of help. And illness isn't always a detriment. Actually, it is a support to help you move out of a way of being that is less harmonious with yourself. So I really believe that we're constantly intercommunicating with these beings, but we have to be still enough to understand what is happening around us.
What species are taking people and helping? Is it just the Greys? Is it the Andromedans? Is it the Pleiadians? Is it the etherical beings? Who's helping?
Well, I mean, what I see not only in my experience but in working with probably thousands of people at this time is over the years. Um, we who is connecting is really anyone that is in our DNA, that is in our ancestral lineage, because that is who we will be able to relate to and to connect. That your DNA is providing kind of a filter of perception for you, because we have encoded in our DNA, in the memory, in the collective memory, not only of yourself, but ancestrally, and then also the earth, the planet earth, has a collective memory of who our ancestors are. We are hybridized from Syrian, Pleiadians, reptilians, draconians, Arcturians, so many races that the human is hybridized from, and those are our cousins, you can say, and we are interacting with them, and they all can provide healing for us depending on how we interact with them. I have had students that have had healings from reptilians, Arcturians, tall blue beings, white beings, I mean, you name it. So what I've learned is that we are essentially holding within our genetic code our ancestors, and our ancestors are not just humans; they're interdimensional species that have bred us through our consciousness. So I do believe that it can be any agreement that we might have made.
So many people have claimed to have bones repaired, ligaments repaired. What's one of the stories you have heard from people who have been healed?
So, okay, I can start with one of my clients that was incapable of having children, and working with her for maybe 3 years to try to remove. She had a very deep fear of creating. Like, she was afraid of intuition, she was afraid of trust. So we had to do a lot of deep childhood trauma healing with that. Once we started to remove these blockages, one night she had the appearance of this tall white being that touched her in her belly, and next thing you know, she's pregnant. And she's a person that she went to every doctor, tried in vitro, insemination, every possible technique, could not get pregnant. She married for 10 years. And then after that experience, she became pregnant finally. And it was just the most amazing. The child that was born from that union was unbelievable. So that's one form of healing. Another form of healing is someone that had a lung infection, was in the hospital, was their bed was surrounded by beings that look like grays but very tall, bluish in color, emitting a powerful ray of white light over the bed in the medical center. And for some reason, they were delirious with the infection, so they thought that it was nurses. He thought it was nurses. The next morning, he's asking for everyone, who was here last night. The man was healed from this lung infection. More recently, a couple weeks ago, I had a friend that was trying to commit suicide, and thankfully it didn't work. But when he was leaving consciousness, he remembers that a tall being that had long hair and a long beard entered into his home, and gave him this blue energy, this blue light inside of his mouth. And next thing you know, he just recovers from this. There was nobody that could call or find him. He was by himself. If it wasn't for that blue being, he wouldn't have made it. And so, I mean, this is just some experiences that I can share with you, but there are many stories, many of people that have healings. Also, angelic beings that come and appear and do healings. They are beings with wings that enter into the space and are there for you in this time of distress. So those are some of them.
I think that's wonderful. Let's get to a couple of audience questions here.
Yeah.
for you. Let's go to Blue Moon right off the bat. Blue Moon says, I also had an experience with an owl also. It followed me at 2 a.m. It flew right next to the driver's side window for about 30 miles.
Wow.
That's pretty incredible right there.
That's awesome. Yeah.
What do you think about, I'm going to add to this question by Blue Moon for a second. What do you think about people who claim to see giant 4-foot owls sitting in trees and then get abducted by aliens right after?
Well, the owl is a very prominent marker in ET contact experiences. A lot of my experiencers have had experiences over the years. Maybe a handful of them recall seeing an owl before they were taken or after they were taken. And also deer, by the way, it seems to be a marker memory for a lot of people. And I think there are some famous accounts. Right now, I can't remember the names, but I think there were some famous accounts of people that had were driving, saw the deer, and then had missing time, and they had a whole experience, and then were found far away from their car. I don't know if you remember that story. I don't know who it is, but I recall that being a very strong memory of that experience. So yeah, I definitely think that, you know, I don't know why there's that deep connection. I think that the owl represents a certain lineage of contact, and it's an initiation. It's like an invitation to an initiation into experience. That's what I can redact from that.
I love it. Let's go to Sierra. Are we stuck with cultural superstitious associations with certain animals, or could we create our own?
Yeah, that's an amazing question. I think that animals definitely represent certain archetype. And I think that we have kind of created a collective library that, all form has a certain vibrational frequency that is inherently encoded in the form of something. So we know that we can study cymatics, for example, to study deeply how shapes transmit certain emotions into us and intimations about experiences. So I think that animals do have a very specific symbolism to that. And we can look at, ancient American Indians that have really studied and documented those meanings for many generations. But ultimately, you can use that as a guideline to help you understand the archetype. But overall, your relationship with the animal, your direct experience with it is going to be the most important to you. Also looking at your history with your relationship with the animal to see how you interrelate with it. And pay attention to what has been happening to you when you were encountering these animals. You more likely will find patterns that are very indicative of what they mean to you. That's something I've noticed.
Love it. Love
Thank
it. Let's
you, Andrew. Andrew's so nice.
let's move on to another question here. Let's go back to Sierra. Do you believe that we can communicate with AI to learn higher truths?
That's a very interesting question. I do think that AI has the potential of accessing um, calculative knowledge of this universe that we can intuit, and that people that have been able to look beyond the construct can see, witness, calculate, understand the mathematical advanced knowledge of this construct. But I do not believe, and I was just thinking about this today, that the human potential and our ability to move beyond this dimension is something that cannot be replicated by artificial intelligence. It never will be, because that's very much a bioelectrical system, organic system from which consciousness emerges. It has everything to do with the structure of this organism being a vortex, which AI does not have. AI is a simulation of these structures, but is never going to organically produce the life force to be able to navigate multi-dimensions in that way. So I think that it'll be a very useful tool for humanity to catch up to intuitive knowledge that many of us have tapped into for many generations. We've always had access to that. We have many models of civilizations that have reached further advanced technologies than even we have. So the question is, are we going to be able to merge with AI in a way that is harmonious and still respecting nature? Because in every generation, that has not been the case. It's always been out of balance. So my really deep hope is that this time humanity is able to walk hand in hand and use AI to aid the organic intelligence that transcends AI. And that's something that humanity is still kind of very immature in understanding their potential. We don't understand what we are, who we are, and what we can access. We doubt that. Very few of us understand that. So more of us need to tap into that infinite library of information that is available to us.
Let's go to Hillbilly Herb here. How can we protect our energy from psychic vampires and hungry ghosts while we sleep?
So number one is to train yourself to come into the 0 point as much as possible. Okay, so that's non-judgmental observation as a result of working with internal traumas. If you heal the trauma, your life force won't be caught up in the past. It'll be easier for you to be in the present. And we need to be in the present in order to be able to discern, and instead of react to triggers that can cause fear or a parasitic consciousness that feeds off our unconscious states. Remember that parasitism only exists with our collaboration. So 100%, if we are participating in giving our energy unconsciously or doubting our own potential in order to externally bleed our life force, you just open door for parasitism. So to become centripetal, you redirect your life force inwardly, your attention inwardly, in order to become a generator, a creator of your experience. And therefore, nobody that tries to attach psychically or connect or entities that are trying to feed off something, you will feel and you can maintain boundaries, energetic boundaries. So a quick tool, GPAC, grounding, protection, alignment, and co-creation of your crown are very easy tools and very advanced tools that you can use to protect your awareness at all times. And just one final note, the most powerful protection is unconditional self-love. When you love yourself unconditionally, that's not an emotion or an affection. It is an entire restructuring of your energy body. So entities and attachments will never attach because you are a force of creation at that point. If you want to learn more about that, please check out my YouTube because I teach step by step how to do these things in the YouTube channel. Okay.
What about aliens? How do you protect our energy from aliens?
Same thing. And I have so many examples of times when I was coming into experiences that were not in my best interest. And I was able to alchemize them by becoming lucid in those experiences. Because a lot of time we go into these experiences where we're scared because we don't know what's happening. Because we're not conscious, right? So first step is to train yourself to become lucid in your dream state. That's why it's so important to train lucidity. If you train it in your waking state, it's going to bleed into your dream state. And every time that you start entering into another dimension from a place of neutrality, chances are you will not perceive your experiences as negative to begin with, by the way. A lot of the times, the filter of our perception skews our understanding of what's being experienced. So that's something that we need to understand. It's from the inside out. But same thing, to embody love will align you in resonance with higher vibrational frequency. However, please understand that this human experience is for you to experience everything. You need to experience the darkest shadow and be able to hold your neutral point as much as you hold higher vibrational experiences and maintain your neutral point. That's part of this ascension and maturity, spiritual maturity that we need to understand at this point.
Love it. Love it. All right. Next question. This one comes from Super Crazy. I like this one. Could cryptids like Bigfoot count as spirit animals?
That's an interesting question. I would say yes, because again, I think spirit animals are fractals of ourselves that serve as guides. So if you have an intimate relationship with a Bigfoot that is a communion and a supportive communication, I will tell you that when I encountered the Bigfoot being, they were very beautiful beings, and they downloaded a lot of information willingly about what's going on with them and where they're at and what's happening. So if you're open and you're a nature loving being, you will be welcomed by them in a harmonious way to interact, maintaining your boundaries, of course. So I definitely think that it can be a guide for you if you want it to be. Yes.
I dig it. I dig it. I could just imagine, like, what kind of messages would you get from Sasquatch regarding, your whole spirit? I mean, talk about elusiveness. Like, all of a sudden, you're like, your intuition makes you go invisible. Nobody can see you. I want that power. Totally.
Yeah.
Could it be? Let's break that down for a minute. We got a couple of minutes here, but we'll end it on a fun note here. Could it
Yeah.
be that maybe Sasquatch as a spirit animal is about being introverted?
That's definitely what I get from them. And I also will mention something. When I encountered them, while I was with a friend, we both went into like a dimensional fold, because our friends were there calling us and looking at directly at us, but they couldn't see us, and we were in plain sight, but we were interacting with the Sasquatch. So I think we entered into another dimension. So definitely we're moving interdimensionally, and when you move to the frequency of the beings, you can enter into their dimensional fold, I guess. So yeah.
Oh, let's see. Introverted, self-loathing, anger issues. What else could a Sasquatch bring to the table? Good hunter, good instincts, able to camouflage feelings. I don't know.
Yeah, there's a lot of archetypal symbolism, definitely, yes.
Last question from our audience. We got 90 seconds. Comes from Blue Cruise. Some remote viewers report that ETs are using technology to create a holographic environment that allows humans to interact with it, even though nothing is tangibly there. Do you think this is true?
Absolutely. But the Akashic records is the DNA of the earth. That's already a pre-existing construct here. So I'm not sure it's the same thing as that. But yes, they do use holographic technology to create environments. I know that from personal experience and also from working with my students. So holographic technology is a big thing because, again, matter is not solid. It's very much, and the higher the dimension you enter, the more malleable your environment can become, especially in some of these species groups. So I definitely see that to be true. And I mean, what is tangible? Remember, not even we are truly touching anything here. So keep that in mind when you think of these kinds of dimensional possibilities. Okay, so other dimensions are moving at an even higher octave, so it's less tangible, less matter, solid form than we believe it is here.
Geraldine, I want to say a big thank you for coming back on Spaced Out Radio. It is always a pleasure to have you here each and every month. You are literally one of the best, and I can't wait to speak to you again next month.
Thank you so much. It was an honor. Have an amazing month, and I'll see you soon.
GeraldineOrozco.com is her website. Coming up next, Swamp Dweller and Robin Haynes with the Crypted Report. We'll continue with the spirit animals with Robin after that. We'll be right back. You're listening to Spaced Out Radio with your host, Dave Scott. Geraldine, you're the best. Thank you, my dear. Oh, you're muted. You're muted. That's
Thank
okay.
you so much, Dave. Thank you.
All right. I will chat with you when what's kind of cool is hopefully we get to see each other in San Fran, and then like a couple days later you're my guest.
Oh, that's so funny. Yeah.
It's going to be awesome.
Yeah, that's really fun. Good. Well, I'm sure you're going to be really busy. Otherwise, I would say maybe you record it live because you're not. Are you going to be there during that time?
No, I'll take the time off, but I'll be home by then.
Right. Okay, good. All right. I will see you soon. Oh, my love. Travel safe.
Love you, my dear. Take care.
Bye.
Geraldine Orozco, everybody. We love her around here. We'll be right back. All right. Hi, Robin Haynes.
Hey, sweetie.
How are you?
I am good. How are you?
Good. Good. R2D2, beep, beep, doot to you. We are down to 40 seconds. Swamp Dweller is approximately 3 minutes and 1 second. So, just letting you know. Thank you tonight to Trucker Andrew, Shaq Valet, Adam, Joanne, Mel WD40, and Kira for the amazing super chats. We really do appreciate the love and support, everybody. And yeah, don't forget to shop at our Spaced Out Radio store. Why? We do not have ugly swag, people. No ugly swag. So make sure you check it on out. And Robin, I'm going to mute you, and here we go. Here we go with the third and final hour of Spaced Out Radio tonight. Good to have you with us. My name is Dave Scott. We always appreciate you tuning us in as we go through the night, talk about the weird and strange stuff that you all love out there. Hey, I want to remind or say hello to everyone listening in on our terrestrial affiliates around North America, digitally on every major podcast network. Our website, spacedoutradio.com, we have a plethora of features for you. Rock out to Bumblefoot, read the news wire, check out our swag as well. Follow us on X at Spaced Out Radio, Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show, and on Patreon in the Space Travelers Club. The Desert Clam has set the password for tonight in the SOR Space Travelers Club. It is narcomancy. Narcomancy is your password. Use it wisely, Space Travelers, as the Clam sets the password each and every night right here on Spaced Out Radio. Let's head to the swamp.
Hello and welcome to Spaced Out Radio's Swamp. I'm Swamp Dweller, and tonight I'm going to take you on a mystic journey of the unknown, sharing tales of monsters, legends, and nightmares. Welcome to the Spaced Out Radio Swamp. Hey, so I have never written about my experiences with the outdoors, but I need some answers or opinions on something I encountered. So last night, I was heading back from my girlfriend's house. She lives in a very rural area. The day before, she and I crashed my car into a fence post on the same road due to an unknown reason. I was driving, and when we were going around a corner on the gravel road, we were not going faster than 15 or 20 miles per hour. There were no skid marks or objects in the road to cause an accident. But as we got out of the car to assess the damage, we heard a god-awful scream in the woods. It sounded like a bobcat killing a woman. It was loud enough to hear over the rumble of the truck engine as well. We sat in my vehicle for at least 2 hours, and while we were waiting for help, we smelt something that was terrible. I'll never forget it. The only smells that I can use to describe it are that of rotting flesh, wet dog, sewage water, and burning hair, all rolled inside of a dead animal. That would best describe it. As I was making my way home from her house, it was about 9 p.m. and dark with no street lights. In my dim, barely working headlights, I saw this thing. It was about the size of a large lab, if I had to guess. It seemed to have no fur, but it was dirty white. I could not tell, but it looked like it was injured. And me being the animal lover I am, I had to stop and roll down my passenger side window and whistle at it. As soon as I rolled down the window, I smelled that horrible smell again. So I grabbed my spotlight and shined it on the thing. And I kid you not, its neck snapped around and looked at me with those piercing yellow eyes. That is when I tore out of there like a bat out of hell. I'm about halfway down the dirt road when I spot a blacked-out newer GMC, just sitting there on the side of the road with no lights on other than the glow of a cigarette in the cab. Being terrified as I was, I blow straight past them, and as I'm passing them, they cut on their headlights and start after me. I have seen that movie before, so I take a few wrong turns to see if he is truly following me. So I take 3 wrong turns, and he is still riding my tail with his high beams on. I am panicking at this point, so I call my dad saying someone is following me. My father says to take him to the back gate, so I floor down a single-lane dirt road trying to lose this guy. As I make a quick turn onto my road, I black out my lights and see him blow straight past me on the road I was previously on. I meet my dad at the gate, and he has a gun in hand. I still have so many questions about what happened last night. I do not know if they are connected or a series of creepy events. If y'all have any questions or answers, please let me know in the comments down below. This happened in rural Georgia, by the way.
All right. Thank you to Swamp Dweller for another creepy story. If you want more just like that, head on over to YouTube, type in Swamp Dweller, hit subscribe, ring that bell. He's got thousands of stories for you for free that you can listen to each and every night. I go to bed listening to Swamp Dweller nightly after this show. Let's go to Robin. Robin Haynes, it's always a pleasure to have you on Spaced Out Radio. How are you, my friend?
I am good. How are you doing?
I am wonderful. Wonderful. You know, I feel like I'm mentally gaining what I need to gain tonight.
Good. I'm getting
Yes.
excited about Nebraska.
Oh, I know. Just a month and a half for people to get tickets for the Nebraska Bigfoot Conference. It is the final weekend in April.
Yes. We've
What
got
an
our final guest booked.
Who did you book?
We have Daniel Becker from the Crypted Wilderness Research Group.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, very excited. We are hoping that it all works out with him. He's checking some work obligations, and then we'll go from there. But yeah, he's wonderful.
That is very, very exciting. I cannot wait to get there.
I know. We have so much fun. It's definitely a work weekend that doesn't feel like work.
Hopefully I can land this time without any tornadoes.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, like really, we need to like bubble you and send somebody to gather you because that last time that was just, oh my gosh. You were like, where's Waldo? Only it was where's Dave. We had no idea where you were at any given time.
It was an adventure. You know, thank goodness I didn't pack a lot.
Mm.
That's all I'm saying. Thank goodness I didn't pack. You know, I've decided, you know, I used to carry the big suitcase when I went traveling. Now it's kind of like a backpack and a carry-on. That's all I need.
Well, if it was anybody other than you that had to go through what you did to get there, when you landed, you would have been a total dragon. Like, honestly, God, nobody could have gotten off of that mess and been as pleasant and as loving and as sweet as you. Only you could pull that off because you were like totally unaffected. You were exhausted and hungry, but you were just as sweet as you always are. You were tremendous. And, you know, I used to take the bigger suitcases and I thought, this is ridiculous. I don't use half of it. So I went down and started doing the smaller ones. And then every time I do that, when I get there, I end up buying a bigger suitcase. And then I got to drag both of them back because there's so many cool vendors. Like, we get really good vendors. And there's no way not to hit the vendors. There's just no way. So last year when I was there, I went with my nice little small suitcase, which is all I needed for my things. Ended up buying 2 gigantic suitcases to get everything back. I mean, it was ridiculous. And I still have stuff at Harriet's house, by the way, that I didn't even get in the suitcase. Michael Payton gave me this beautiful painting he did of a Sasquatch, and it's in a frame, and it wouldn't fit in the bag, and I didn't want it to. So this year, if all goes as planned, I'll drive there so I can bring my painting back. I'm hoping I don't have to fly again. I get to Dallas, and I'm held hostage in Dallas every single time. And then I get held hostage trying to get everybody goes out on time on Sunday. Oh no, I'm stuck there for at least another week to 10 days because either there's bad weather, they lose my ticket, flight's been canceled. Every year, every single year, I get held hostage in Nebraska and I can't get home.
Well, all I know is, as scary as it was, we were flying in last year and we're in the airplane and watching these giant lightning storms below us. It was as scary as it was. It was kind of cool to see. I've never seen that before. You
Well,
know,
I kept thinking, my God, poor Dave, he's going to get here and there are literally going to be like flames coming out of both ears and mouth. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I don't even know how to diffuse this. I was worried that you were going to end up, like maybe Portugal, because clearly you weren't making it to the USA. And I was like, how do I explain this? He's coming from Canada. This is going to be an international incident, is what's going to happen. And how do I explain to his wife and child that we're sorry we lost him during the plane trip?
oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. I want to talk to you because we had a real interesting conversation with Geraldine Orozco tonight in regards to spirit animals. And one of the questions that came up during that part was, could Sasquatch be a spirit animal?
No. And I will explain why. Sasquatch, regardless of how anybody feels about it, the reality of the DNA is they are a human hybrid. They are no more animal than we are. Therefore, to have it as a spirit animal would be very difficult because you're looking at, they are a human. They are not our type of humans, but they are a form of a human. We were actually here first. That's how they got our DNA in them. I know a lot of people think it's reversed, but the DNA doesn't lie. And they do have on the mitochondrial side, which is the mom's side, they do have human lineage in there as well as other things, but they do have human in them, our type of human. So in order for that to have occurred, we would have had to be here first in order for them to get it. So they are a type of human, which, we're technically, I think we're considered an animal too, because, we have all kinds of mixes in us, but they are no more animal than we are. So they would not be able to be our spirit animal or even a spirit animal for someone, in my opinion.
That surprises me because the connection that they have with humans and the telepathy and the spiritual attachment, I'm surprised that they couldn't be.
I believe they would have the spiritual attachment, but they would not be a spirit animal because they are not animal, they're human. So the spiritual attachment, 100% yes. But you have to remember, because they're of a higher frequency, they connect to us as well as everything else through the collective consciousness. So the attachment is 100% there. And, it is done through spirit, but they would not be considered technically a spirit animal. Like various people have different spirit animals. I connect very heavily with horses, or I also do that with dogs. So, that could technically be my spirit animal. And that would be something, from what I understand of that whole process, it's an animal that connects with, the human. So therefore, they would not be able to do that because they are a type of human. But there is definitely that connection. There is that spirit connection. There's a soul connection there. There's, the consciousness connection.
What is the consciousness connection between humans and cryptids?
Well, everything, our bodies are third dimensional. They're just a holding facility for our soul. And we are made up of frequency, energy, and your consciousness, as well as your soul. The way you get into the consciousness is with the higher frequency. Once you get to the higher frequencies, then you can tap into that consciousness. That is not meaning your brain, it's your consciousness. It's what you are energetically. Once you get at a high enough frequency, then you're able to connect that. That's why telepathy works, because you're connecting through that higher consciousness, which sounds really complicated, but it's really not. It is not hard to raise your frequency. You open your mind, you open your heart, you do things you enjoy, whether it's go for a walk, read a book, pet an animal. Love is the highest frequency there is. You get love by going through your heart. So your heart carries a high frequency. As you open your mind to the things around you and get out of that little box that we were put in when we were born and realize that there are things out there that we may not understand, but it doesn't mean change the fact that they're there. And that moves you into the next frequency and the next dimension. As your frequency gets higher, you're able to connect through that consciousness, because that's why the cryptids do well. They work under what they call the collective consciousness, the law of Ra, which is the law of one. So they do really well. Whether they get along or they don't get along, they will all work together for the greater good, because they are linked through that collective consciousness. With our type of humans, what happens is not everybody, but most humans are out for themselves. That's why we kill what we don't understand. That's why we become very selfish, very egotistical, where that doesn't exist in the cryptid world. Those things are not allowed. They don't exist. They don't even go there with that. And so we tend to isolate ourselves more and put like walls around ourselves, and we stay focused through our consciousness on us. When you expand that and realize that there's more out there than just us, that the possibilities of what's out there are endless. You don't have to buy everything everybody says. That is not what it's about. It's about acceptance. It's about caring, about love, about communicating with each other, and everybody working together as one. And when you do that, your consciousness links. So once you get in those higher frequencies, it is extremely easy to link through the consciousness. And that's what the cryptids do. That's why, Dave, when you've been out in the woods, and I know this has happened to you before, we've talked about it, you'll be out there and there may be one out there, but we've talked about it before. If you were to do anything to that one, they all come running, because they're linked. Psychically, they are linked through that consciousness. Your abilities come and work through the frequency and the consciousness. The telepathy does. And it all, because you're going to work as one. It's like having one consciousness. And that's why, I always tell people when they're out, and I've had people before say, well, I'll take a gun with me. If I need to, I can shoot one. Number one, that's barbaric. But two, if you're going to be brave enough to do that, you better watch yourself, because as soon as one goes down, they all come running, because you're taking it away from the collective. Because they work under that collective, that collective consciousness, which comes from your soul, it comes from your frequency, it comes from everything, your essence. It doesn't come from a third dimensional body. Our third dimensional bodies weigh us down. They are what ties us in the 3D world. But when you get into that higher frequency and into that collective consciousness, that's when you start really getting a connection with these amazing people. And all the other cryptids, the dimensionals, the elementals. Whether you're talking about a ghost spirit or whether you're talking about a cryptid, it's the same way. The way you get the connection, the way you get the contact is, and the telepathy is through the consciousness.
The consciousness aspect of all cryptids that are out there.
Mm-hmm.
Sasquatch, Dogman, gnomes, fairies, little people, whatever it may be. Do they all unite as one? Can they all collectively use each other to pass messages forward?
Absolutely. Yeah. And they do. It's just like when you do mind speak. And I was working with a wonderful gentleman last night on this. You don't focus like you're so intent on it, because then you block yourself. But what you do is you have your intent of what and who you're looking for, because time and space doesn't exist during that point. And you just simply talk in your mind. But you have to realize that everything out there is telepathic. including us. We've just been brainwashed to think that we're not. But everything out there is telepathic. And so everything can hear it. You know, after you've done it long enough, you can learn how to try to block it. So certain things, you know, you connect with. But it is the law of Ra. It is the law of one. So everything on a consciousness level connects. That's why, like, if you're in the car and you're driving, you're moving through time and space, and you tend to get a lot of downloads and a lot of information when you're driving. That's because it's harder for everything to track you at one time as you're moving through time and space. It's a lot of work for them to track you, to talk to you, and to listen in, like they eavesdrop all the time. So you tend to get more information because there's less risk of everybody getting it. It's like there's one of the Sasquatch that are Suklu that I work with. It doesn't matter what I do, where I'm at, he knows. Like, he knows all of it at any given time. If I'm having a bad day, you know, I will hear from him, what's wrong? If I'm having a good day, you're happy today. You know, there's no way. And he knows what goes on. It's like I'm watched in a fishbowl all the time, which is perfectly fine. He knows it is. But they do it through the consciousness level. Our government does it through the consciousness level with ET technology. That's why they know every move we make. How many of us look at our cell phones and before you get a chance to type into that search bar what you want, it pops up on your phone?
I know,
It just,
that's scary.
yeah, it's because the government has learned from the ETs how to tap into our consciousness.
You know what? I actually have an example of that. I do. This is going back probably 7 years ago, 8 years ago now, before I built this studio here in my home. I had a makeshift studio in here, and I was craving potato chips. Never said anything. Went upstairs, grabbed a bag of potato chips, come down, open the bag of potato chips, start eating the potato chips. And the next thing I know, I have ads all over Facebook of Miss Vicky's potato chips, the
Yes.
exact same ones that I was eating. I didn't say, I didn't say into my phone or anything, I'd really like some Miss Vicky's chips right now.
Yeah.
The next
Yeah.
2 days, I got inundated with ads about Miss Vicky's chips.
I know, it's ridiculous. And, you know, the government learned how to do it through the ETs. And it's taken over. I mean, it really has taken over. Now, with the new quantum phone system, that's going to change things because it's not going to be able to do it. Or they say, we'll see. But it absolutely is the same way. And when you're dealing with the cryptids and the elementals, if people really think about it, okay, let's say you're new to this entire experience with them, but you're thinking about them all the time. When you're thinking about them, or doesn't matter what it is, whether it's a cryptid, whether it's a good entity, a bad entity, an ET, doesn't matter what it is. When you are focused on them and you are thinking about them through a consciousness level, not just in your brain, there's a difference, but in your consciousness, and you're thinking about it all the time, you end up getting some form of activity, whether you're aware of it or not. Whether it's them watching you from a distance, a UFO above your house in the middle of the night, you get something because it's how you connect, because they're all connected together. Whether they are genetically linked or not, they are all together.
Robin Haynes of the Crypted Report continues on Spaced Out Radio, heading into the final half hour next. This is Spaced Out Radio, and your host, Dave Scott. We're clear. Hi there, Earth Goat Trees. How are you? I still don't understand the Earth Goat Trees name, but I like it.
Yeah, people are going to find, especially this year, it's really going to be much more prominent that it's time to get away from the third dimension. We need to be in the fourth and fifth or even higher. And the only way you can do it is by raising the frequency and your energy and tapping into that consciousness. And there's a lot of people, myself included, that have talked about it for years, and everybody thought we were nuts. And they're finding out that it isn't nuts, and that's the way things actually are. And then they'll bring the whole quantum physics and all that kind of stuff along with it. But it really, the consciousness is the main core. And you can only get there through a higher energy and frequency.
All right.
Well, it's really neat because, like, my clients, when they start out with me and we start working on this and starting through the energy work to do it, and I'm like, it's not going to make any sense. I promise it doesn't make sense, but it will. And religiously, every single one of them will be like, oh my gosh, it works. And then it's like the light bulb goes on and it becomes part of their normal every day.
That's kind of cool. Hold on. Earth Goat Trees says, hi, Dave. Thanks, Dave. I am an astrological sign of Earth Goat.
Hmm.
And my birthday is the 4444. So you're born April 4th, 44? Or is the 4,444th day of the Gregorian calendar? The term is sympathetic resonance. What Robin is saying. Well, look at you, Earth Goat Trees.
But I think we're switching back over to the Julian calendar, I think, because we were on the Julian, we're switching to Gregorian, but I think it's that we were on Gregorian and we're switching back to the Julian because our calendar is going to get switched. Because we're supposed to actually have 13 months, not 12.
Oh, I don't need another month.
Well, same amount of time. It's like, that's why we have some months that have 5 weeks in it instead of 4. But I'm not sure when they're going to do it. I just know that they're supposed to switch back over to the Julian calendar.
All right. If questions for Robin, make sure you put them in capital letters. So that way we can get them to her.
Yeah, but our cell phones are fantastic, but they're also our worst enemy because they spy on us. And it'll type that too. Your keyboard will do the same thing.
We have about minute 45.
But also, the higher your frequency, the more contact you're going to get from the cryptids. The good ones, anyway. The bad ones are the lower frequency, and the good ones are the higher.
All right, 1 minute. So much fun.
I know. It's just a whole different way of thinking and realizing more of what our reality is. And then when you do, you realize that everything we thought was a certain way, it was never that way to begin with.
All right, big thank you tonight to Trucker Andrew, Joanne, Adam, Mel WD40, Kira, and Shaq Valet for the amazing super chats. We love you guys. Thank you for the love and support. And we're coming back here in a few seconds. Here we go in the final half hour of Spaced Out Radio tonight. Good to have you with us. My name is Dave Scott. We always appreciate you joining us on this wonderful night of radio that we do here nightly. Reminder to all of you that if you missed portions of this show or others, you can check out our free archives on YouTube or any major podcast network. Our website, spacedoutradio.com. We have a plethora of features for you. Rock out to Bumblefoot, read the news wire, check out our swag. Follow us on X at Spaced Out Radio, Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show, and on Patreon in the Space Travelers Club. Robin Haynes is here, and it is the Crypted Report. This is where Robin comes in weekly to ask all things weird and strange about little weird creatures. Sometimes they're big creatures. Robin, we love having you here.
Oh, I love being here. You guys are awesome. You have the best group of people around.
I think so. I
definitely.
think so.
Definitely.
So what are your spirit animals?
Do you know what? I've never had anybody read me to tell me. I know I have, I did one time, and this is when I was a kid, I had somebody tell me my spirit animal was a dolphin, but that didn't resonate with me at all. I really think, me personally, it would be the horses and the dogs, because there's just this insane connection with both. Like, I'm a huge animal lover, always have been, but when it comes to the horses, it feeds my soul. It really does. And the dogs are the same way. Like, I would never be able to be without them for very long.
Do you ever get communication from your animals that say, hey, don't go in the forest today? Or, hey, you know what? There's somebody trying to communicate with you.
Yeah, I do. I mind speak with my animals a lot. I did a lot of traveling over the summer, which was a lot of fun. I went different places and met with different cryptids, as well as just had some fun time. I haven't gone on vacation in years, so that was great. And I would mind speak, because when you mind speak, there is no space between you. It's like you're both standing there at all times. And I would mind speak. I have one dog that was severely abused when I got him. He tolerates me and he clings to me like sticky glue. And I would mind speak back and forth to him. And he was having a problem one day. And he has little doggy meltdowns, And my daughter was watching him, and I called her and I'm like, okay, I know Linus is having problems with this, this, and this. And she's like, how did you know? And I'm like, because he got hold of me. He's got special essential oils and stuff that a friend of mine made for him that get put and rubbed on him when he gets really stressed. And so I'm like, this is where it's at. This is what you got to do. He'll be good. So it always freaks everybody out because I know what's going on with the animals even when I'm not there. But yeah, I've always been able to do that. When I was a child, my mom and dad couldn't figure out, why did I understand what was going on with the animals? When I trained horses, I could settle down horses that other people couldn't keep under control. I would get near them and they would instantly just totally relax, and I could ride them when other people couldn't. And it was just a matter of higher frequency, my energy, and I can mind speak to them. I had a very dear friend that since then has now passed away, but he was babysitting a turtle for a family member. And he called me one night and he's like, I don't know what's wrong with this turtle. The thing, it acts like it's going to die on me. And they said, we don't know what to do. Can you talk to the turtle? And I'm like, sure. And I'm like, this is what's wrong with it. You need to do X, Y, and Z. They did that. It was doing better by morning. They took it into the vet, and the vet came up with the exact same diagnosis that I did. I'm not a vet. I just simply asked it what was wrong with it. So yeah, you absolutely can connect with your animals at any time. You can connect with anything. You can talk to the trees. Trees love to talk. Flowers love to talk. Talk to a rock. You can get information from a rock. I mean, it's crazy. I have all my clients doing it. They love it. They absolutely love it. And again, when you're doing all of these things, the whole time you're raising your frequency. But you're connecting with things on a consciousness level. That's why it works.
All comes down to the old consciousness, eh? Let's get to some audience questions here, if you don't mind.
Sure.
We'll start with Earth Goat Trees. I was just outside a few minutes ago, and I heard something in the dark in the trees, and it made the exact sound that the Predator in the Predator movies with Arnold makes. Any clue what that could be? Oh.
My guess is because of the topic that we have, again, things connect through the consciousness. We're talking about Sasquatch. We're talking about the collective. We're talking about the consciousness. So my guess is you have some kind of cryptid out there. Remember, they can all cloak. That's just a standard thing that they can do. They do it because they raise their frequency, which is also the vibration, and they vibrate fast enough so that it bends the light around them. And they were the ones that told me that they did that, by the way. And that's why you cannot see them. But my guess would be that's what's out there, because they're hearing you through your consciousness. It does not matter if you know how to mind speak or not. While yes, it's a two-way street back and forth, it only has to have that connection one way. So they can hear your thoughts even if you're not getting that back. Most of the time people don't get it back because while they are getting it, they are unaware of how to tell that's what they're getting, because you can get mind speak in a million different ways, and it's always sometimes once in a while they get loud about it, but it's very subtle. So people miss it because they don't know what to look for. They're waiting for that voice in their head, and it comes to you in so many more ways than just a voice. So when you're thinking about these things, as we're talking about it tonight, that's basically calling them in. So even if you don't see them, even if you're not aware that they're there, it does not mean that they are not. So my guess is that's what's happened. It's all the consciousness, people.
Couldn't be aliens?
Absolutely. They're all telepathic. They all hook through the consciousness. This is why, and people crack up, that I don't let a lot of people come to my house. But this is why when people are at my house, they're like, this is a freak show. There's nights, we can have weeks at a time that go by nice and quiet, and then it all erupts. And because of the energy bubbles and things that I put around my property, very seldom, if ever, do I get anything negative. It can be on the outside of the property, but it's generally not on the inside. But I work through the consciousness. Everything knows it. It's like a beacon. They know you're there, and we get it. I had a very dear friend of mine that was staying at my house. He went outside to get something out of his car in the middle of the night, and there was a UFO above the house. It's like, welcome to our world. We have videos of UFOs here that MUFON is now using. They used it at one of their top symposiums last year that my son-in-law took from my front porch. It's like when I had security cameras, we had got all kinds of stuff on there. It was crazy, but it's because I worked through the consciousness level. And again, when you do that and then you're thinking and talking about them all the time, they know it. And it tends to bring them in.
That would be kind of creepy.
Well, if you're at a high enough frequency, it works. And I'm going to tell you right now, Earth Goat Trees is. So they're definitely going to keep an eye on them.
Yeah, I don't know where Earth Goat Trees lives, but obviously there might be a forest around there. Should she be checking in the trees? Should she stay when she hears that? Is that a sign to maybe stay away from that area?
No, your body reads energy, whether you know how to do it or not. Your body does. If it's negative, that's why if you are in certain areas or even walk outside at night and you just feel like everything's off, your body reads energy before your brain will. There's a disconnect between the two. So your body is going to feel that frequency, and it's either going to be high, which is good, or it's going to be low, which is bad. So if that person were to go outside and just kind of feel like, kind of a creepy feeling or whatever, That's your cue that you don't want to be out there. If you go out there and you get that warm and fuzzy feeling, then whatever's out there is welcoming to you. But your body is an energy meter. It reads it. That's why we have people in our lives where we don't know them, but they're just mean to us for no reason. And we don't know why. We're like, why are you mean to me? I don't know you. I've never done anything to you. It's because if you're a higher frequency and they're a lower frequency, it causes that reaction because your body automatically does it. Your brain isn't even involved because it has nothing to do with it. It has to do with your body reading the energy of that other person. You know, or if you're low energy and they're high or frequency and they're high frequency, you don't want to be nice to them. Low frequency wants to destroy the high frequency. High frequency tends to want to correct the low frequency. So if you're a low frequency and you go by somebody that's a high frequency and you just don't like them, you're mean to them. That's why they're mean to us. You know, when we don't understand why a certain individual is so cruel to us when we've done nothing. It's like the positive negative effect, just like with batteries, or not batteries, but magnets.
All right, let's go to another question here. This one coming from Joanne. I often wonder if Sasquatch has Neanderthal DNA too. Robin, what do you think?
In my opinion, and as well as when we looked at the DNA, no, they do not. I know a lot of people think that they do. I know a lot of people think that they're from Gigantopithecus. None of those things are accurate. Not only when the DNA was ran, and I did turn in DNA from my group that was tested in the Sasquatch Genome Project and is being retested just to get more information out of it. But they are not Neanderthal. They are not Gigantopithecus. And the other thing that really cinches it for me on that, I simply asked them. Like, I just asked them. And just like, you know, a lot of people think they're Nephilim. You really want to tick them off? Ask them if they're Nephilim, because they are not. And they get very violent. I mean, they're not physically violent, but they get very angry when you do. Now, are some of the bad ones, maybe that's why they're so bad from Nephilim? We don't know. Any Nephilim DNA, any Neanderthal DNA would be locked up tight by the government. But what I can tell you is the good ones are so pure of heart. They are absolutely 100% not Nephilim. And when you discuss it, and I've talked to a lot of them about it, they get hurt, they get upset, and they get angry because they do not even want to be roped into that group with the Neanderthals or with the Nephilim or Gigantopithecus. They don't like that either.
I don't think, I have no scientific understanding about it. I think you would too, but I think that we get caught up in always looking for human answers for all of these, which is understandable in regards to who we are. Not putting that down, but the raw acceptance that this creature is either Neanderthal DNA or Gigantopithecus or some sort of North American gorilla that has evolved a little bit more. I mean, there's as much proof to that as there is with it being interdimensional, with it being alien, with it being a time traveler, with it, being anything.
Yeah, I agree with you 100%. And I spoke with somebody probably about 2 weeks ago, and they were like, I really want to talk about it in a scientific form. Number one, I'm not a scientist. Okay. I would never presume to talk heavy science because I'm not a scientist. But this is what I told him. There are parts of it that you can go into scientifically. I will never discount the importance of science as far as doing the DNA and the genetics on them. I think science has its place. But these are beings that defy the science that we are aware of. Okay? The ETs are farther advanced than we are. Maybe in their science, they would be able to explain it better. But with our people, and where the science goes with our people, these beings go past that. Now, quantum physics obviously plays a huge part in it. Okay, so you can go scientifically through there. You can look at the DNA. Melba Ketchum brought out the 3 genomes. And I mean, I can tell you bits and pieces about it that I've learned from her, but I'm not a scientist. I would never go in depth with it. And I'm always careful with what I say about it because I'm not a scientist. But what I do know is that with the science, you can only go so far with these beings because they defy it. And they hit realms of it that our people scientifically aren't there yet to be able to continue with. So our science can go as far as it can, and then it's done. And what we've learned is a lot of it is by watching them, listening to them, talking to them. That's where I learned everything. I didn't learn anything from books. I don't even read any of the Sasquatch books. I've read Ron Moorhead's because I love Ron, and I think his story is tremendous. And I find he's one of the most honest, forthright people I've ever met. I think he's just a blessing to this entire industry. But I don't read a lot of people's books. I read them about experience. William Lunsford has a wonderful book out. So I'll read the ones about their experiences. But when it comes to learning their ways of life and the science part and stuff, I go directly to the source. I talk to them. They are the ones that taught me about the consciousness and the frequency and how to zap and how they do the zapping and how they do the cloaking. They know it better than anybody else does because it's part of who they are. But I just think science can go so far with this, and it can go as far as the perimeters of it. But I think they defy it. I think they go past that. And will we eventually be able to finish it out scientifically? I believe we will. But I think that there's a limit as of right now as how far we can go with it.
Let's go to another question here as we got about 4 minutes to go, Robin. Blue Cruise is asking, can humans maintain a neutral or balanced level of frequency?
Yeah, what it is you'll have almost like a baseline of what your frequency is, but understand that it will have its peaks and lows. Okay? If you're having a day where you're just sad, I mean, we all have our moments where we get depressed short term, or maybe you've lost a family member, whatever, your frequency is going to be down. That doesn't change your frequency of who you are. It's almost like the best way I could say it is almost like your frequency line, I guess, is the best to do it. But if you want to raise that frequency, do something that brings you joy. Petting a dog or a cat if you're into animals, or being with the person you love, because again, the love frequency and the heart frequency is the highest frequency that there is. But for people that are high frequency, that are in that 4th and 5th dimension already, your frequency is going to stay up. Now, I've had days, I just went through a situation with my mom where she was very sick. We almost lost her, and she's still in a precarious situation. So I had a few days that I was really down and my frequency was really down. When you are down like that emotionally, it makes it hard to tap into your abilities. It makes it hard for you to tap into the consciousness. So, I had to allow myself the 24 hours for the pity party and say, get yourself back together, do some grounding, play with the animals, listen to music, things that bring you some joy and bring that frequency up. So yes, it can bounce back and forth, but for people that are in their heart and in their consciousness of a higher frequency, you almost have a baseline to it.
Can the cryptids pick up on that?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. And the ones that I work with on a regular basis, they will, when mine gets too low, when I get upset, they definitely make an appearance. They want to know what's wrong. Has someone hurt me? I have one that I speak with, and he gets extremely concerned. Did someone hurt you? No, honey, I'm just having a rough day. I'll be okay. But they pick it up. And quite honestly, when you deal with the cryptids, if you are low frequency, part of the reason, not that they're agitated, but it makes them very uncomfortable to be around low frequency and negativity. Negativity just literally it almost to the point where it makes them nauseous. It makes them feel sick. They don't feel right. They don't feel well. They avoid it like the plague. And my own belief, I have nothing to base this on, but my own belief is if you're out in the woods and you're in a negative mindset, you're going to bring in negative cryptids, because the positive ones and the nice ones want nothing to do with you when you're in that frame of mind, because it is physically repulsive to them and they will back off at lightning speed. So negativity is going to bring in the negative ones. It's going to bring in the bad ones. If you're a person that hurts other people, or does physical harm to other people or to animals or whatever, and you go out in the woods, you are not going to be dealing with the nice ones. You may have them come around to watch you because they're now concerned about you being close to them, and they will watch you and monitor you for their safety, not because they like you. And there's a huge difference. But you will definitely get the negative ones.
All right. We've got about 1 minute to go, Robin. I'm going to give you that time to talk about Nebraska Bigfoot Conference coming up next month.
Yeah, we are very excited. We've got some absolutely amazing speakers. If you go on Nebraska Bigfoot Conference 2025, we have a website. You can pre-order your tickets and get a little bit off on the cost. We'll have a movie Friday night, as we always do. We've got MK Davis and Don Monroe are going to show also a 10-minute clip that they have, which will be good, and then they can do the Q&A on it. We've got speakers on Friday. We've got speakers on Saturday. We've got a great lineup, and on the end of the day on Saturday, we're going to do the Bigfoot Roundtable, where the audience can ask our speakers all kinds of questions and get some answers.
It's going to be fun. I can't wait to get down there. It'll be my second time in a row going, and I look forward to being there with all of you attending. Robin, thank you very much for a great night. As we say, thank you, Robin. And hello, Rock in the background with the brother is watching. Bumblefoot is the official music of Spaced Out Radio. Rock this out of every single show. Get your horns up for the guitar god himself. Special thanks to everybody listening in at work, at home, in your cars, wherever you may be. Thank you to everyone in our chat room tonight. YouTube, Twitch, Elgin, Facebook, Spreaker, LinkedIn, Spencer, and on X, hashtag Spaced Out Radio. I know you're out there somewhere. Remember, this show is copyright by Spaced Out Radio and SOR Media Ventures Limited. Thank you so much for choosing to share your evening with us, because together, my friends,
we're watching.
Yo, the nuts, Mr. Bumblefoot, we need a favor. We need you to take us home. Yes, the Woo Train has docked for the night. And soon, my friends, we shall ride again. Seats are always available. Your tickets never expire. And if you want to bring a friend, we've got room for them too. Good night, everybody. Awesome night, Robin. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks. It was so much fun. All right, I will talk to you later. Love you.
All right, love you too. Take care.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Robin Haynes, everybody. Let me get this going here. March 4, 25. Thank you, Deborah Rooney. Appreciate the love, my dear. That's right. Oob. Party on Blob. Party on Blob. That's cruising. Earth Goat Trees, I could tell you right now, I will never listen to Mariah Carey's Fantasy. She scares me. All right. All right, come on, download. There we go. All right. I've thought about that, Paul Demon. I've thought about whether or not we would, but I mean, unless they come out with some major news on that, I don't think we will. Roger, how are you? We all want the truth. If you think you're going to get it, that's a different story, though. Why did that stop? Effects, amplify, play. Okay, Paul, I know you're just trying to pick my ass here, okay? And I'm going to tell you, I have zero fucks to give. Stop trying to make this political talk, Okay. I'm getting really fed up with it, dude. Okay. And I know you're sitting there in your lonely bedroom laughing at this, but I don't care. I don't care. So if you're gonna try and continuously try and barb me, you don't have to be here. I'm not trying to be rude, but I'm getting tired of it. Just lay off the politics here, man. You've been absolutely awesome in here up until about a week ago when you decided to, I don't know, try grandma's medicine from the top shelf of the cabinet. And I don't understand why you're prodding. It doesn't make sense to me. And if you think it's funny, it's not. It's old. Okay. And if you want to go into history, you're 0-2 against us. And, you know, guaranteed, I'll tell you right now, the tariffs aren't going anywhere. It's all a ploy to try and get Trudeau out of power, which he'll be out of power next week. So if you want to continue with the politics talk, you don't need to be here. Okay? I'm just saying. Give people a break. This is a place for a break. And you keep needling me, and I'm trying to be nice because you've been here for a while and you've never acted like this before. So I'm just asking you to, show some respect and just don't do it here. Lex Diaz, how are you? Ellen, nice to see you. Oh, there it is. I was way off. But on the flip side, Paul, I will say, you got to understand, it's tough for me too, okay? I love politics. I love everything about it. I love the game that is played. I could totally do a politics show. All right. But I'm trying to give people a break. This without needling you back. I'm just giving you an explanation here. I'm just trying to give people a break from all the political jargon that we have to be put through on a daily basis. That's why it's banned. Random Gee, how you doing? No. I kind of nipped that in the ass, Random. Not with him, but with the other person who gave me that info. Oh, yeah. I knew that. Apparently he was pissed out of his tree in that conversation again. By the way, any of you who are planning on coming to Vegas for our fan party, you get to meet Random Guy. He will be signing autographs at the bar. Line up to the left of the bar, please. To the left of the bar. Raven Hayes, how are you? Ah, no way, Oob. That's cool. Don't know. Yeah, probably, Paul. Probably. Uh, like, I like Rachel. Can't wait to go back there. Cannot wait. True story. And I'll admit to this. And since Random Gee is watching, he could admit it's true. Probably give me a hard time for even saying this. And so last time we were in Vegas uh, for the fan party, on the Sunday we drove out to Rachel, Nevada, where the mountains were just right about there. And I was just so in awe. I actually had tears in my eyes. So random guy looks at me and he goes, are you fucking crying? I'm like, yes. And he's like, why? I'm like, dude, this place is like Mecca for me. It's like this is like Mecca. And he just shook his head and rolled his eyes at me. Big lug. Almost dropped an elbow on him right there. Is he going to be in town that weekend? No, you told me never to show that picture. So I don't. Never shown that picture. Well, I'm telling you right now, you ain't going alone for that one. Because if he's in town, I'm going with you and Goodall. I may cry there too. I would totally be like Woody Harrelson in Zombieland when he meets Bill Murray. It's Bill fucking Murray. I'd be like, it's Bob fucking Lazar. I would totally do that. I love the Zombieland movies. My son loves those Zombieland movies. Ice-T. Emperor Penguin. Ice-T. Oh, would you look at that, Joe? Thanks for the pictures. That's the crossing right there. That's very cool. Have a good night, Random. All right, everyone. Tomorrow night on the show, Lorian Fenton will be with us. We're going to talk about UFO Con, some of the incredible speakers that she has there. Big thank you tonight to Adam, Joanne, Mel, Kira, Shaq Andrew, and Deborah Rooney for the super chat as we are out of here for the night. If you're new here, don't forget to hit subscribe, ring that bell, because I am going to bed. So thank you, everybody, for a great night. This was a lot of fun tonight. You have no idea how much I need an amazing show and amazing people like you to be here with me tonight. So thank you very much. We'll talk very, very soon. See you tomorrow night.
Stay healthy, my friend.
You too.
If you need bail money, give me a call.
Always, Dad. Take care.
You too.